Three, two, one. Here we go, people. It's podcast time. It's go time.
Damn right it is. Here we go. Here we go. Time for some tag team wrestling shit.
Yeah, this time around, guys, we're going to dive deep into the wrestling world, and we're going to be talking about tag team wrestlers.
Yeah.
And on top of that, we are going to be answering some wrestling questions from another YouTuber, Daniel Santana.
I know.
And then we'll just go from there. Yeah, because we're going to dive deep. We're going to be all over the place. This is going to be pretty much, I would assume, all about wrestling.
Dude, there's so many tag teams out there. Like,
right.
Where do you start? I mean, the whole history of tag team wrestling, like...
Right, it's been going on for years.
Yeah.
And that's something that we've really never dived into, I don't think. Maybe a little bit here and there, but we're really going to get into it this time for sure.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. So I don't know which ones you want to start off with, but, there's quite a few. We can dive into the 80s, 90s.
I'll start off with a tag team that was a pretty cool tag team, but they never won the WWF tag team titles.
Right.
Was the Bushwhackers.
The Bushwhackers, old school.
Yeah, remember they all came out in those camouflage.
Oh yeah. Yep.
And we're doing the arm. Dude, I had a cousin who's a few years younger than me.
Right.
Back in the late 80s, early 90s, when the Bushwhackers would always come out, I'd be watching wrestling with them. And when the Bushwhackers would come out, we would get up and start doing the Bushwhacker thing around the living room.
yeah. That's pretty cool. I'm sure a lot of kids did that back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, dude, the Bushwhackers, even though, like, I tell you what's crazy is that in WWF, they were the Bushwhackers who were always, like, a fan-friendly tag team, always playing it up to the fans, always the good guys. But prior to WWF, they were one of the most violent tag teams in the NWA territory.
Yeah.
Which they were known as the Sheep Herders.
Yeah, they were pretty hardcore.
Yeah, I found a book one day of some old shots from the 80s, and it showed the Sheep Herders, and every picture it showed of them, they were just like bloody, like they, like in the NWA territory days. I mean, there was a lot of bloodshed.
Yeah.
That's why if you ever looked closely at the Bushwhackers, you'd see their heads like all scarred up.
Yeah, because they'd be getting a pretty hardcore wrestlers for sure.
But when they came to WWF, they were more just about, their gimmick of, hey, we're Luke and Butch, the Bushwhackers. Coming out licking fans and just like, yay, whoa!
Yeah, I'll pull them up and so I can go over some info on the Bushwhackers.
Do you know one thing that was funny about them? They were most notorious for being two of the doinks at a Survivor Series match.
Yeah.
They had in a '93 Survivor Series, they had this thing where they were going to have a team of 4 doinks, which you thought it was going to be 4 identical, Doink the Clowns.
Yeah.
And funny thing about it, Doink wasn't even involved in the match.
Really?
When they announced it, like the Bushwhackers came out basically in their wrestling attire, but had the Doink, face and the the little top with the green hair. And you're like, wait a minute, what? And then when they bring out the next Doink, it's Men on a Mission.
Damn.
And Doink the Clown didn't even participate in the match.
Damn. Yeah, they were known as the Sheep Herders from the 70s into the early 80s, and then the new Sheep Herders in the early 80s to the mid 80s.
Yeah, and like I said, I watched some of their NWA matches, man. Like I said, they're violent. Like, they were violent wrestlers back in the day. Like,
Right.
by the time they got to WWF and became the Bushwhackers, they kind of really toned down their style.
Yeah,
Just,
it says here, what were they? The Bushwhackers from 1988 to 1996.
dang.
That I guess was their run there. They
Yeah.
debuted.
And you know, their whole run in WWF, they were always fan favorites.
Yeah, it says here December of 1988 they debuted in the WWF.
Yeah.
Name was changed. Well, they debuted I think as something else, but it says the name. Let's see. The name was changed to the Bushwhackers and developed a more comedic style.
Yeah, that's how their whole run in WWF was. They were just comedy, you know.
Yeah, involved in licking.
Yeah. And I mean, it just, they always had, and I remember their finishing hold, the guy would put his own tag team partner in a headlock and run at the guy and drive his partner's head into the other guy's body.
Yeah.
They call it the battering ram.
Yeah, it looks like these guys originally started, it looks like in the late 60s.
Damn, I didn't know they...
Crazy. Yeah, it says 1966 here. Luke and Butch started wrestling as the Cowies. I think that's what it's pronounced. The KIWIS for the NWA New Zealand. I guess it's All-Star Pro Wrestling. Yeah, I know nothing.
Yeah,
I
knew of them being the sheep herders, but
right. Before the sheep herders, they were I guess pronounced Kiwis, something like that.
I have no idea.
60s, yeah, I know nothing about that. That's some good info, though.
Yeah, because I mean, like I said, growing up in the time period, I always just remember them sheep herders, and then going to WWF and becoming the Bushwhackers.
Right. Man, they've been around a long time, man.
Yeah, you know what's funny though? They were in WWE or WWF all those years, and never once did they ever win the WWF tag team titles.
Yeah, what's up with that?
I don't know. I guess maybe they just... because you think about all the other teams they had around that time, like they had as champions, like Demolition, you know?
Right.
That was another one of my favorite tag teams growing up as a kid was Axe and Smash Demolition.
Oh, hell yeah.
Here comes the Axe, and here comes the Smasher.
It also says here, as far as the Bushwhackers goes, I mean, they were, I guess, they left somewhere in 1996, and it says after WWF, after leaving the WWF, the team made special appearances in the independent circuit.
Yeah, like most all the older wrestlers do when they get out of the main spotlight. They still do independent bookings and shows, make a little bit of money off of it.
Right, and do Comic Cons and stuff like that, so that they can take pictures with fans.
Man, it's like in that movie The Wrestler. He goes from being such a main event, huge talent for years, and then when his time passes, he's reduced to working at a supermarket and doing, independent shows and, like autograph deals and stuff. It's like, man, that would suck.
Right. I wonder how many video games those guys were in. Trying to look it up, but I don't see nothing in their Wikipedia.
I remember I had their Hasbro figures growing up.
Did you?
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
The Bushwhackers, Luke and Butch. Hey guys, nobody stands up from the Down and Out Blaster or the Thunder from Down Under. You remember that?
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
That was the thing from the WWF commercial for the Hasbro figures. They were a cool team, dude. It was funny. Like they were a cool team, but they were not like they were more of like a mid card team. Like they could beat the lower tier tag teams like the Bolsheviks or I think they even got if I'm not mistaken, they got a victory over Warlord and Barbarian in a match, which cool. I was shocked up with.
That's cool.
Yeah, but when it came to them trying to always battle for the belts, with teams like Demolition and stuff like that, they stood no chance against those guys.
Right. And we got
they had good solid matches though. I mean, they always were part of. Do you know what though? One of the Bushwhackers, Bushwhacker Luke, for years had the record for the shortest Royal Rumble appearance. He basically came out, strutting to the ring, doing his Bushwhacker thing. He got in the ring. As soon as he got in the ring, like a guy just went over, grabbed him, and just took him and threw him right out. And they were talking about that might be our record. He was in there for 4.9 seconds, and
he's out of there.
And he held that record till 2009 when the record went to Santino Marella, who lasted 2 fucking seconds. like he literally slid into the ring, and as soon as he stood up, he just got clotheslined right back out of the ring by Kane.
Damn.
And I remember he hit the ground and was yelling like, "I wasn't ready! I wasn't ready! No, I wasn't ready! No!"
That reminds me of the movie Over the Top where arm wrestled that guy and.
What was that dude's name?
I forgot his name, but he got taken down so quick. He's like, "Put it back up, man! I wasn't ready."
Yeah, like he was talking all that shit. Like, "Get in here, Hawk! I can't lose, Hawk." Harry Roscoe, that was his name. And he's just like, they finally get locked up. And they're like, "Ready, go!" And just Stallone just drops him
real quick. But yeah, the Bushwhackers was pretty kick-ass tag team.
Yeah, I mean, they had their good matches. I mean, even though they were never like a major tag team, like champion team. I mean, as far as like
they were well known.
Yeah, I'm talking about like as far as like being a mid card, like fan favorite tag team. Like they were, like I said, they were well known.
Yeah.
I mean, like the merch they had, like I said, me and my cousin, back when we were kids, we were walking around the house like we were the damn Bushwhackers, like, whoa, yeah.
Yeah, there's plenty of good tag teams. Like also, there's the Midnight Express, the Hart Foundation.
Yeah, the Midnight Express. It depends on what version of the Midnight Express you're talking about, because growing up in wrestling, there were several versions of the Midnight Express.
Yeah.
They started off as, I think it was Dennis Condrey and Bobby Eaton, and it was Bobby Eaton and Stan Lane, which, to me, the ones I knew the best of Midnight Express were Bobby Eaton and Stan Lane.
Yeah, this says Midnight Express, Bobby Eaton and Stan Lane, one of the most complete tag teams in wrestling history.
Yeah, they were a great. I mean, like they could work. They had that feel. I mean, Stan Lane had that like look and just thing of being a heel, like
right with Jim Cornette in their corner.
Yeah, everybody always says that Jim Cornette should win the award as the most annoying manager ever. I mean, that would be pretty true. Like Jim Cornette got a lot of respect for the man.
I like Jim Cornette. He's smart.
Yeah, and I mean, he's taken some wild bumps in wrestling, dude. Like
he was falling off that damn scaffold thing.
Yeah, it's that like wow, and he
messed up his legs on that one.
Yeah, he blew out his knees.
Yeah, I wouldn't be doing that. That's for sure.
No, hell no.
You're gonna have to pay me a lot of money to get fucked up. But, you know, it's all good.
So with that, then they pay you a lot of money. Your money's going to go to them hospital bills.
Yeah, no kidding.
You know?
That's crazy.
Like, all right, we're going to pay you $100,000, but you're gonna rack up about $150,000 in hospital bills. No, thank you.
Yeah, big time. I'll pass.
Yeah. Fuck that, motherfucker.
These wrestlers are definitely in and out of hospitals, you know. Probably quite often.
I mean, look at the wild, crazy shit they do. I mean, like, you see what that ring is made out of that they
Right.
show? Like it's wood boards, steel beams, and like 2 inches of fucking padding.
Yeah, not much.
Yeah, and it's like something I heard one time a wrestler say. It's like, you know, everybody thinks the ring is so great. Oh, I want to go in there. It's so great, so balanced. It's like, trust me, when you're getting slammed on that mat every night, when you're getting dumped on it, that shit hurts, and it doesn't stop hurting. You don't get used to that pain.
The everyday pain of a wrestler. Oh yeah.
No, I'm talking about you don't get used to that pain of hitting that mat over and over and over again.
Right. Yeah. It's for the strong, man. You know?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the wrestlers, like I said, Midnight Express, you know, Bobby Eaton and Stan Lane, like, I mean, they had a lot of good rivalries, like, with a lot of the teams. But I was watching an old story about they were building up a big feud between the Midnight Express and Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard.
Yeah.
And they were playing it up, but then out of this, before they could ever really have like a match, Tully Blanchard and Arn Anderson fucking left and signed with the WWF at the time.
Wow.
Yeah, so, but you know what? Because when they stepped out, you know, Midnight Express can step up and be, you know, the main tag team, but then they brought in like other tag teams that were like the Steiner Brothers and Doom and like the they got damn near killed by the fucking Road Warriors in a match, dude.
Yeah. Those guys are something.
Yeah. I think Stan Lane took one of the fucking hardest damn Doomsday Device clotheslines I've ever seen. Like,
damn.
I was like, damn, dude.
I mean, yes, some of those wrestlers are stiff as fuck, dude.
Yeah, I mean, people say one of the stiffest teams out there, like, you did not want to draw, would be like the fucking Legion of Doom.
Right.
Like not their WWF Legion of Doom run, but I'm talking about before that, when they were in like NWA and AWA as the Road Warriors.
Back in the 80s.
Yeah, like, people said you did not want to draw these guys. Like, you know, like, 'cause, I mean, especially if they went out there and to wrestle jobbers, like, oh, they were fucking harsh to those jobbers.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd want to wrestle those guys. I mean, unless if I'm getting paid some good money.
Yeah. Another team you didn't want to really ever get in the ring with, learning from Mick Foley, was getting in the ring with the Steiner Brothers.
Yeah.
Because he said he took a clothesline from Rick Steiner that he almost knocked him totally silly.
Same thing with the British Bulldogs. Dynamite Kid almost took his head off as well.
Yeah.
In the 80s.
Was it the Bulldogs or was it the Steiners that he said that he got hit with a clothesline so hard that...
that was the Dynamite Kid. I should say the British Bulldog. Yeah, because back then, you know, Mick Foley was just a jobber for the WWF.
Yeah, he was called Jack Foley.
Yeah, and I guess he did some shit that Dynamite Kid didn't like, so he said, all right, I'm going to throw a beating on him.
He was talking about, like, you know, he was talking it up with Davey Boy and Dynamite before the match, and he asked if he could hit like his move on him, which is like a flying elbow, you know, like a flying elbow smash deal. Like the guy's like running at you, and you just fly at him with your elbow, and he said that's all he want. You know, I mean, you can beat me up and do whatever, but like I just ask if I can just do my move to you.
Well, he tried doing. I've seen the match a while back. He tried doing a few moves on Davey Boy, and Davey Boy was just kind of standing there, and then grabbed him and body slammed him or something. And I think that pissed off the Dynamite Kid, because he was probably thinking, well, who the fuck is this jobber trying to get hits on?
Yeah, and it's like I'll show this punk.
Yeah, I'll show this motherfucker. And sure enough, he did. He fucking just.
Yeah, he said he got hit with a snapping clothesline that his jaw to where he couldn't eat solid foods for like a day
while.
Or two.
Yeah, it was for a little while. He couldn't, so. Yeah, you might not, when you're a jobber, you may not want to try and actually pull off some moves on a known wrestler at that time.
You don't want to come in. I mean, you're a fucking jobber,
right?
And you're asking like a top tag team that's is being marketed, has merchandise, former WWF tag champions.
You're gonna have to pay your fucking dues before you do any of that shit.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta think. The Bulldogs paid their dues.
Of course, they were around a long time. One of my favorite tag teams is the Bulldogs, because they were tough. Especially Dynamite Kid, man, he could bring it.
Yeah, I remember back. One specific memory I can remember as a kid was I got a WWF magazine one day, and I was looking through it, and they started showing like the shirts that you could get, and they had a British Bulldogs T-shirt that looked really cool, and I remember like asking my mom, like, Mom, can I order this? Can I order this, please? Can I order this shirt?
Yeah.
She's like, no, we ain't. That's. I forget what it was, like how much it was at the time. I think like shirts were like $20 or something like that.
Right.
And she's just like, no, I ain't got $20 to buy you a damn shirt.
Plus shipping and tax and all that.
Yeah, plus, if you ordered it, you have to pay shipping and handling and
tax,
so it'd be like, you'd probably be paying like $30-$40 for that.
Yeah, you never know. Let's see, we also got the Rockers.
Oh yeah, legends.
Those guys,
you want to know something before we get back to the Rockers? I want to say one thing about the British Bulldogs.
Sure, absolutely.
I wonder how good their career really would have went if Dynamite never would have blew out his back.
I think they could have been awesome, especially in the 90s.
Yeah, because you got to think, like, and they won their first WWF Tag Team title at WrestleMania 2, defeating Greg the Hammer Valentine and Brutus Beefcake.
Yeah.
And I thought they were gonna, like, when they won the belts growing up. I thought they were gonna be like a long time, tag team champions. But I remember they won them in '86, and they had the belts for pretty much that whole year, and then wound up like early of '87, losing them to the Hart Foundation.
Yeah. And I'm not sure when what year did he blow his back out?
I want to say it was like early of '87.
Something like that. I'm going to look it up.
Because, I know when he had, like, the match was like a week before they were supposed to, like, have the match with the Hart Foundation. They were having it, I think, what was it, Don Morocco and Cowboy Bob Orton, wasn't it?
I'm not sure offhand.
It's funny. I watched that match when I was a kid of the Bulldogs against the Hart Foundation, and when they lost the tag titles. And I remember that whole deal. They came out, and then like Dynamite was taken out before the match, hit with the megaphone, and basically Davey Boy had to go in there and like basically wrestle the whole fucking match by himself.
Right. Well, yeah, they wrestled. Let's see, wrestling in the WWF from '84 to '88. But I think he messed up his back somewhere in like '86 or '87.
Yeah.
But he did continue. He left in '88, I believe, because of that whole incident where he got his face socked with the rolled up.
Yeah, because rumor has it he was a fucking bully back in the day.
Right. The Rougeau brothers, one of them socked him in the face with
a roll of quarters.
Yeah, roll of quarters, which you know what though? From what they said, he didn't go. He went down, but he didn't go all the way down. I think he went down on one knee or something like that. But he didn't get knocked out or nothing.
No, I mean it was.
So he's a tough son of a bitch to be able to get hit in the face like that unexpectedly.
He could have been like that one guy in that Steven Seagal movie that got his teeth knocked out. It's like just like guy was like, "You fucking knocked my teeth out."
Yeah. Motherfucker, knocked my teeth out. But yeah, he never returned. I mean, I know Davey Boy did, but Dynamite never returned to the WWF. He went on to do other things like All Japan Pro Wrestling.
Yeah. He even started another team of like, I think they called like the British Bruisers or something. It was Dynamite Kid and it was what the fuck was that other guy's name? But he had like another partner, and they were called the British Bruisers, and during that whole time, like that's when Davey Boy basically went back to WWF, which kind of worked out well for him. Like I mean, when Davey Boy came back, and he was just simply known as the British Bulldog.
Right.
Like, I mean, he came back jacked up, like long hair, and it was just like, whoa, this ain't the fucking Davey Boy Smith I remember.
Right. Unfortunately, they're both passed away.
Yeah.
Davey Boy passed away a long time ago. I think 2002.
Yeah, which sucks, man, because I mean, it just sucks. Like, the wrestlers that we watched growing up as kids, knowing that a lot of them ain't even around anymore.
Right.
Like I said, like the British Bulldogs. I mean, there's so many great tag teams that they're both gone now. Like I mean, look at the fucking Road Warriors.
Yeah.
I know you wanted to talk about the Rockers next. I mean,
whoever you want to talk about is fine with me. I'm just going with the flow.
Well, I'm saying we can, we go jump on the Legion of Doom here, because I mean that's another pair of wrestlers that are not here anymore. Hawk Eagle, the Road Warriors.
I mean, I'd have to say those guys are probably the most dominating force in the fucking tag team.
Yeah, I mean, like everybody was saying, like when you did not want to ever draw these guys, like back in the early days, like NWA and AWA. I mean, they were vicious.
Yeah, they looked pretty hardcore.
I mean, they weren't just in the ring being like, oh, we're going to get in the ring and have a regular wrestling match. Like, no, we're going to get in the ring and just beat the living shit out of you. That's the deal. And being powerhouses on top of that, dude. I mean, being a stiff-ass tag team is one thing, but to be jacked up powerhouse fucking stiff tag teams, like, oh no.
Right. Yeah, I wouldn't want to wrestle them unless if I'm getting paid some good money, that's for sure.
Yeah. I tell you, one of the funniest stories I ever heard is at a club one night, fucking Vince had all the tag team guys giving them all their signature tag team moves.
Right.
And he even took the fucking Doomsday. Like, somebody went up like, oh man, this is our chance. Let's really stiff the boss, And they said they were really giving him, and Vince was just like, hell yeah, like he was overjoyed taking his wrestlers like finishing moves.
Damn.
Like what the fuck? Vince must have been fucked up doing shit. He's like, why would you do that? Like, why would you go down to like all your tag teams? Like, come on, one by one, you're all gonna hit me with your finishers. Come on.
Yeah. Hey, Vince can take it.
Yeah. That would be one move I would not want to take, is the finisher from the Road Warriors. Like being on Animal's shoulders and having Hawk just basically clothesline you fucking totally, like spin you totally all the way around. Like, right. It was just one wrong move, dude, for you to land on your damn head. And it would be like, yeah.
Game over, lights out.
Yeah. That was another team that back in the 90s, I was stoked to see them, come into WWF.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, dude. But the only thing I thought I didn't care for was when they came into WWF, they were called the Legion of Doom. And, like, it's just like, wait a minute, they're not the Legion of Doom, they're the fucking Road Warriors.
Right. I mean, both names are cool, but, I mean, I understand what you mean.
But, I mean, the Legion of Doom name at first was kind of hard to stick, knowing that, you've known them as the Road Warriors all this time.
Right.
But after a while, it's like the Legion of Doom. It just starts like to roll out there, and yeah. They were pretty cool. I mean, they had those. Remember those shoulder pads with the spikes on them?
Oh yeah, they were cool motherfuckers for sure.
Yeah, dude, I tell you, one of the worst things they ever did in wrestling, what the Road Warriors did, they beat the fuck out of Dusty Rhodes and pulled off one of their spikes off their pads and started sticking it in the Dusty's eye.
Damn.
Yeah, and I remember seeing the angle, and when you see him like bringing the thing down to his eye, like they blurred it, like that whole part out, and you just see Dusty like,
yeah.
It's like, oh my God, dude, you're trying to take the man's eye out.
Yeah, well, Vader got his eye taken out.
Yeah, dude. Oh my God! Like, they said that he not only popped his eye out, but he put it back in his own head.
Yeah, that was crazy. I had to hand it to Vader, man. One tough motherfucker. Yeah,
like, dude, I just, man, I could not. I don't know. I don't even want to think about that.
And he finished the match too. Most wrestlers, I would assume, would be like, wait a minute, my eye's out, we're going to have to stop this shit.
Yeah, some wrestlers are just too tough to quit, man. I mean, look at Hardcore Holly. Man, split his back wide open on a table spot, and you actually see like a whole big-ass gash across his back, and guess what? He still went in there and took like moves that like landed right on that bad cut. Like he had to do like, I think like a chair spot or fucking like a ladder spot or something.
Right.
And it was just like, God dang, man, I could not fucking do that.
Yeah, he got a good gash on that one. It's crazy.
Yeah. But the Legion of Doom, man, I mean, they were legends. I mean, everywhere they went, like, they were, like, the best tag team out there. Like, AWA, right. NWA, WCW, WWF. Like, I think they were one of the first tag teams ever to hold every major tag team title at some point.
Right on. I'm sure they got paid good money, too.
Oh, yeah.
There were some awesome motherfuckers in the wrestling world.
It just sucked as time went on. Like a lot of wrestlers, like they started kind of making the Road Warriors like weak. Like that whole deal in '92, where they're like, "Oh, let's bring back Paul Ellering. Let's bring them in a dummy thing that they find at their childhood home and like revamp the LOD."
Right.
And then they wound up leaving shortly after that. And I know for a while, I think Animal took some time off because he had a back injury, and Hawk went to WCW for a bit and did had tag team going with like Sting for a while.
Right.
And then like they later went back to WWF as the Legion of Doom.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. Remember that dude, what was so sad was in the late 90s, they had an incident where they were coming to the ring and you could clearly see like something was wrong with Hawk. Or not, yeah, Hawk.
Well,
like,
that I believe was a work.
Well, I know, but I'm saying though...
they did that because he was on substance.
Yeah.
I think he was doing all kinds of shit at the time.
Yeah, so they put it in as part of his storyline because they wanted to team Animal up with Droz and have them be the new Road Warrior.
Yeah, I thought that was just so fucking... I like Droz, but I'm not... Like, I don't know, what they did there I wasn't a fan of.
Yeah, the one thing that was the lowest point was having that one incident where Hawk climbed up on top of the tower, and it was kind of in a way seemed like he was threatening with suicide or something.
Right. That's the thing, man. It's just like you take a fucking awesome tag team and you just make it look like garbage,
Make it seem like Droz pushed him off the Titan the tower, and it's like, oh my god. And then they were brought back again, like in early, I think, what was it, like early 2000 or something, they were LOD 2000 in like 98. Like they revamped them and they had Sonny come in and be their manager, and no, wait a minute, no, that was way after that when they did the incident with Hawk, but I still remember that when they revamped him in 98 to be like LOD 2000.
Right.
And that was shortly before the whole deal where they made Hawk come out seem like he was under the influence, but it's just like at that time it was sad, like seeing, not just to see him in that that storyline of him being, but you could clearly see that when they came out they weren't the LOD like you remember. Like you could tell they were older, like tell Hawk was putting on some weight, and they just didn't come out there and just be like that dominating force like they always would be.
Yeah.
And then they're having them lose to tag teams like the New Age Outlaws, and
it's pretty crazy. Well, let's switch gears here for a minute.
Okay.
And let's answer a few questions here.
Okay, we can do that.
We got a few questions because we're already about 40 minutes deep into the podcast.
All right, we got another 2 hours to go.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
We'll go for quite a while actually if you want. But let's see. Okay, we got some questions here from Daniel Santana. Here we go.
All right.
He asked you, did Joe own WWF WrestleFest 1991 VHS tape hosted by Macho Man Randy Savage?
You want to know what's something? I actually did have a copy of that at one point.
Did you?
I did. I think I might have. You know what? I remember. I think I rented that from because I went to a video store where they used to have those wrestling events like that, like WrestleFest and all these different like home video wrestling events, and it's like, oh man, I gotta rent this one. Oh man, I want to rent that one.
Yeah. And he says here, it also, this VHS tape has a rare segment of Brutus Beefcake grooming tips shot remotely from his own barbershop segment.
Yeah, you know what? You know what's funny? I remember that. It was funny as hell because he was originally like a guy was trying to like just offered him like a mannequin head with hair, and like he's like, oh, he's like, no, screw this. I want to cut some real hair.
Good stuff. Yeah, that's old school VHS tape, man. Right on.
I'm kind of thinking that might have been. I don't know if that was the one. I know it was. I know they made, I think, a couple of WrestleFest VHS tapes, but I know one of those tapes like that, I saw a pretty rare match between The Undertaker and the Texas Tornado, Kerry Von Erich.
Oh, kick ass.
And what was weird about it is Undertaker basically destroyed Kerry Von Erich.
Oh, damn.
Like picked him up, turned him upside down, gave him the fucking tombstone, crisscrossed his arms. I was like, man, it's like, Kerry Von Erich, who's like, came from the world class era and big time superstar, like, it's crazy to see a major star like that, take a loss, like just get dropped, 1, 2, 3, it's all over.
Well, at least it wasn't to a legendary wrestler like The Undertaker, not some low-level mid-card motherfucker,
Yeah.
Something like that. But let's see. Next question is, do you recall Tugboat on WWF Spotlight as he sat in the studio with Sean Mooney, August of 1990?
You know what? I don't honestly think I recall that. I recall a lot of... I know Tugboat, and that was a funny, cool wrestler, man.
Yeah.
Coming out the...
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah.
It was funny, though, that, he started off as Tugboat, and then, it was like he had a rivalry with Earthquake. And then what was funny, not even a year later, Tugboat turned heel and joined forces with Earthquake to form the Natural Disasters.
Yeah.
Another great tag team. And I thought, dude, these were fucking badass motherfuckers, dude.
Big size guys too, man. I don't think I'd want to wrestle them either unless I'm getting paid good money.
You know what their tag team, their finisher was? They'd have Earthquake do his butt bomb, and as soon as he lands the butt bomb, he gets off. Tugboat, who was now known as Typhoon, would run off the ropes, and as soon as Earthquake would get done, would come in with a fucking splash.
Yeah.
And they call it the Natural Disaster. The Earthquake drop followed off by a Typhoon splash.
Yeah, it's lights out.
Yeah. Hey, you get hit by that, you're not kicking out of that.
Oh yeah, let's see here. Next question is, did you have the IRS Hasbro figure?
You want to know something? I actually did.
Kick ass.
I think I pretty much at several times in my life, I probably had almost every Hasbro figure they came out with. I know the first couple series, I know they had a lot of several series of the lineup of Hasbros, but I remember early on I probably had every early on Hasbro figure. I remember having the $1 Million Man, Jake the Snake Roberts, Demolition, Hulk Hogan, Macho Man, Roddy Piper, Jimmy Snuka, the Ultimate Warrior. The first version of Ultimate Warrior was kind of stupid. They had with his arm, but they had his legs together, and it had a bouncy deal. But when they made the next series, when they made more of they took the original Hulk Hogan figure and remolded it to be Ultimate Warrior, which I thought was better.
Right on.
I had Brutus the Barber Beefcake. I probably had them all, man.
Oh yeah. Okay, let's see. Next question is, did you own WWF Hottest Matches VHS tape hosted by Sean Mooney?
I probably did at one point.
That is old school. Speaking of VHS tapes, I would love to find some. I found 2 of them at I forgot the name of the place, the Warren Community Trade Center years ago, but since then I haven't seen any.
Yeah, it sucks because, years ago, and this, that I had quite the collection of wrestling VHS tapes.
Yeah, you had a hell of a cool collection.
Yeah, I mean that was like back in growing up as a kid and a teenager, like that was my thing, man. I was a wrestling fan like no other. Like I had this idea one day because this was when the whole Monday Night Wars was going on. I was like, you know what? I went out and started finding a bunch of early, 90s WWF tapes, WCW tapes, and all this and that. And I remember I even did my research of all the dates and times when these events took place, and I put my whole collection together and had it like a library deal.
Yeah, that's cool.
Like I think the earliest VHS tape I had was I had an original copy of WrestleMania 2.
Nice. What year did you get that? Do you remember?
I think I got it one time. Me and you out bike riding.
Oh, okay. So it had to been in the 90s.
Yeah.
Did you pick up wrestling VHS tapes in the 80s, by the way?
The 80s?
Yeah.
Oh, I might have. I mean, I think
late 80s.
I'm trying to think. I mean, I remember like watching some of the events, but as far as like owning like tapes or whatnot, I don't think I really started getting into the whole getting tapes and stuff until like the 90s when they
What about recording from a VHS tape?
I didn't start doing that to the early 90s.
Okay, gotcha.
Like, I think if I remember correctly, I think it was like around 93 when I started actually recording like WWF Superstars and WCW Worldwide and WCW Saturday Night and Wrestling Challenge.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, let's see here. Next question is, did Joe own WWF Super Tape 4, 1991 VHS, hosted by Sean Mooney back in the day?
Oh, man, he's asking some tough ones here, man. I mean, I don't remember, honestly. Like, I may have. I mean, there was a lot of those, like, home video that I had and throughout my life. And
right.
I mean, a lot of them I can remember what I have, but a lot of them I don't remember. Like, I have to see what the covers look like to remember exactly if I had it in or not.
Yeah, I hear you on that. I got a pretty good question here. Did Joe ever own the Bret Hart Wrestling with Shadows VHS or DVD documentary back in the day?
You know what? I actually had it on VHS.
Did you? Yeah, I have it on Blu-ray.
I found it at a Blockbuster years ago, and it was like for like $4.99. I'm like, oh, I'm getting this.
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah! I remember that. That was like one of the first wrestling documentaries that I seen, I believe, back in the day.
You can't help but to watch that and just be like, man, that's so fucked up how they fucked him over.
Right.
Like, it was funny though that Bret actually, like, he had the the wire thing on him so you could hear what him and Vince were saying at that one point, and like Vince was even telling him, hey, the finish is going to be just like we talked about. Sean's going to put you in the sharpshooter, you're going to reverse it, and then like Triple H and everybody's supposed to do a big run in and cause a DQ and then they said the very next night, Bret said that the next night on Raw he would have no problem dropping the belt the next night. He just did not want to drop it there at Survivor Series.
Right.
And he basically, like, he didn't want to lose it to Shawn Michaels. Like he was actually willing to drop it the next night to Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Right on. But that's not. I guess that's not what Vince wanted.
Yeah. But no, yeah, it's like Vince is like, like, as soon as he puts him in that sharpshooter, ring that bell. and dude, if you watch it, you can see like the ref, like when he put him in that sharpshooter, referee goes down like, yeah, ring that bell,
Yeah.
and then like
yeah,
with
then he got the fuck out of there.
Yeah, he literally said like as soon as he called for the bell ring, he jumped out of the ring and fucking ran up the aisleway through. Like he literally ran out the back of the arena, got in a waiting car, and got taken straight to the fucking airport.
Yeah, because I'm sure he was scared he was going to get his ass beat.
Yeah, I mean, dude.
You know, I don't think Brett would have done nothing to him. I know they were friends. So, but I mean, I would be pretty fucking scared too.
No, I mean, Brett later said like he can understand why Earl Hebner did what he did because you know
he
it was
got
all
strong-armed into doing it.
Yeah, and I mean, you can see Brett knew when as soon as he got up, he looked right at Vince and spit that big old gob of spit right on him, like, fucker. He knew he had been had, and like, motherfucker, though, man, like.
Yeah, it was an interesting, fucked up time in wrestling.
Yeah. You want to know something? Did you notice like what was crazy about that VHS that show is that seeing his kid getting chased around the back by Sonny.
Right.
You know.
Back when she was a looker, that's for sure.
Yeah. You know what though? That's what. Do you remember Shawn Michaels making that comment of "There's going to be sunny days" because there was a rumor that Sonny and Brett had a thing going on.
Right. Which they both denied, though. Her and Brett.
But it was weird, though. I mean, watching in the back, like Sonny chasing around like Brett's son.
Right.
Like, oh, I'll babysit your kid for you. I'll chase his ass around the arena and get him.
Yeah, a long time ago.
Yeah. How about the fact in that Wrestling with Shadows, which I thought was fucking cool, is they went to Bret Hart's dad's house and he like they didn't show it, but you could hear him in the basement with one of his like students, and you could just hear the guy just screaming mercy, man, like and you just hear Steve like here. You put a little pressure on his arm right here. You can't you just lean in and you say
stretching motherfuckers.
Oh man,
he was good. He was good.
Stu Hart, man, he was a fucking legend, man. I mean, coming to actually like he really knew his like submission style. Like he knew moves that he could put you in that could really fucking cause you pain.
Oh, big time.
They got heard a story that Brett said at one point that he would, back when him, Owen, and everybody were kids, like they would go down in the dungeon and they would actually, like, their dad would actually take turns, like, stretching their asses.
Yeah, but that's how you become great.
Yeah, and he said that they would put him in. He'd put him in submission holds that would really like make the blood vessels in your eyes like burst. And he said that him and Owen sometimes would go to school with like just blood fucking red eyes.
Damn.
Yeah.
Well, you can see, but they became awesome wrestlers, though. You see.
Yeah.
Because of that.
You know what sucks though? I mean, I'm wondering like how great that Owen Hart would have been if he wouldn't have done that stupid fucking deal where it caused him to die.
Well, he was great beforehand, so.
No, I'm saying wondering where he would be at today if
I'm sure he'd be long retired now.
Yeah, he'd probably be but you never know. He could have went on and become like a manager. He could have like.
Right.
Like a lot of wrestlers go, become like a manager, become a trainer. I mean, they could have took over like the role of with his dad and be like, I'm gonna become the new Stu Hart, you know. I'm gonna train everybody in a dungeon and show everybody what I had to go through.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, let's see. We got another question here. Is did you own WWF World Tour 1991 VHS tape?
I believe so. World Tour. I mean, I believe I had a VHS copy of World Tour. Sounds familiar.
Heck yeah. That's cool, man. One of these days I'm gonna have to just go on this big VHS run, you know.
Yeah, I'm sure probably by now in life, dude, all those tapes are probably hard to find. I mean, you have to be
give or take. I'm sure some are easy, some of them are hard.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm sure like the sealed ones, those will be hard to find.
Yeah.
You know, you can find a lot of that shit though on eBay.
eBay.
Yes.
But
good place to shop for stuff.
I mean, you can also get lucky too, going to like Goodwills and like thrift stores and shit like that. You can usually find some cool deals.
Right. Let's see here. Next question is, what wrestler toy line does Joe feel is the best ever? He says Jake's, or classic Superstar series from 2004 to 2009.
Yeah, those were cool figures, but I always have to say, man, my favorite would be the Hasbros.
The Hasbros.
I mean, that's what I mean. Like, that's what I grew up with. Like, you know, they were tiny little figures compared to the figures they have now, and you know the figures are more. They're just, as far as growing up as a kid, like, I got to go with my Hasbro figures, man.
Hasbro figures, yeah, those are cool.
I mean, you don't know how many times I could just sit there as a kid with a box full of those Hasbro figures, and I could just sit there and entertain myself for hours with those things. Like, just having all kinds of matches. Like, we're gonna have Demolition against the Bushwhackers. The winners take on the Rockers, and the winner of that match will be the new tag team champions.
Yeah. Speaking of figures, he's asking. He says, "I presume Joe never owned any of the WCW Toy Biz 1989-2000 figures." Did you?
I don't know. I don't know if I ever had any of those, but I mean, I do recall owning like the one line of WCW figures that they did, the big rubber ones, like almost resembled the early WWF figures.
Yeah, and
like I had Hulk Hogan, I had Vader, I had the Giant. They had a bunch of wrestlers come out in that line, and I know they did I don't know the exact line, but I know they had like some figures. I know they had like WCW figures that had like magnets on their fists.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And he asked, do you ever look back and wish you had picked any of these old school figures up, the WCW figures?
Yeah, I would have loved to have grabbed all the damn figures.
Oh yeah.
I mean, even ECW at one time came out with a damn toy figure collection.
Damn.
Yeah, like in the early 2000 era, they had a lineup of their own figures. They had like Lance Storm and Taz, and I remember going. What was the name of that little shop that we used to go to buy Thomas Video? Remember the guy had all kinds of you used to always go there hunting for your Marvel figures, and I would go in there and he had like a whole bunch of like wrestling stuff, and one time he had like a little bucket of like loose wrestling figures that he was selling, I think, for like $2 or something, and like he had like a several of like the ECW ones, like Taz and Lance Storm and I think who else did I have? I think I had like one of the Dudley boys. I think Bubba Ray Dudley. I was like, hell yeah, man! You got Lance Storm and Taz. Fuck yeah.
That's cool. Oh, you know what? We got a few questions here from TN Couponer.
Okay.
That's cool. I think this is a first here. I'm not sure if he's asked any before, but he was asking on a previous podcast. He's got two questions.
Uh-huh.
What wrestling companies do you miss? I miss like FMW and WCW.
I would have to say, one, I miss WCW. That was, to me, I always, like, back in the 90s, the early 90s, before the whole Monday Night Wars, I was more of a WCW fan.
Yeah.
I mean, I was a diehard WWF fan, but in the early 90s, when WCW was promoting more, stuff like their shows, like their WCW Saturday Night and their WCW Worldwide and all that, I miss that company. And
ECW.
And another company I missed that I used to watch on TV was USWA and Smoky Mountain Wrestling.
Oh, okay.
I used to watch those back in the 90s because they used to run shows on TV.
Yeah. And
they even did an inter-promotional deal where they had USWA wrestlers going to Smoky Mountain and had Smoky Mountain wrestlers going to USWA, and a lot of great talent in Smoky Mountain Wrestling. Like you had the Rock and Roll Express, you had Jim Cornette was there. You had the Armstrongs. Remember there was a wrestler that they built, and he was a bad motherfucker too, named Bruiser Bedlam.
Yeah.
You remember him?
Not offhand, no.
Big old bulky motherfucker with a bald head, and just he was just a powerhouse. And I remember his finishing move. He would do the iron claw, but he wouldn't put it on your head like the Von Erichs would do. He would do the iron claw to your stomach.
Damn.
Like he'd put that claw right down in your stomach, and you just like squeeze, and to the point where you just oh fuck, and the referee's counting you down for a 1, 2, 3.
Right on. And let's see, his next question is, what TV shows do you miss? I miss Married with Children.
Yes, definitely. Children was one of them.
I miss Beavis and Butthead, even though from time to time they bring them back.
Yeah,
I love watching Beavis and Butthead in the 90s.
Yes, Beavis and Butthead I miss. As far as TV show, I tell you another great TV show I used to be a big fan of in the 90s.
Yeah.
Was a TV show called In the Heat of the Night.
Yeah.
Great show, ran for a long time, and then they finally just did away with it.
Yeah, there's a lot of good shows in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah. I remember, dude, in the early 90s, they tried to make a TV show based on the movie The Outsiders. They were going to do a TV show. What was going to basically follow was the next day after, the movie.
Right.
But it was a totally different cast, and, because of course by the time in the 90s, all the, stars from The Outsiders were big stars at that point, so they had to okay, we got to recast all this, and it shows some people that were pretty cool, the actor they got to play Pony Boy was an actor by the name of J.R. Ferguson, who later went on and did all kinds of shows and movies, and he wound up doing that show, The Conners.
Right.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Remember that? I'll tell you what. Speaking of him, he did a movie was really wicked. I think me and you both watched this movie. Remember that movie Campfire Tales?
Not offhand. I remember the name. The name sounds kind of familiar.
Yeah, like he's with his girlfriend, and her brother, and his girlfriend, and they get in a car wreck, and they're sitting at a fire telling stories, and at the end the guy turns around and sees the police lights up, and he's like, "Oh man, they found us! Let's go!" And he starts to run up there, and he's like, "Guys, you guys coming?" And he turns around, and they're not there. They're like, "Well, what the fuck?" And he walks up the hill back to the car and sees that they've all been dead this whole time.
Damn.
And all the characters that they were talking about were at that accident scene. The couple in the RV that they told a story about was actually there. One of the guy from one of the deals was a cop or a medic, and you see them all laying there, all their bodies beside the road, and he's just J.R. Ferguson is looking on in shock, what the hell? What's going on here? And then he's seeing their bodies, he's seeing all their beer cans out, and he's just oh no, I didn't just wreck the car, I killed us.
Damn.
And then he turns around, and his girlfriend they're all standing there with sad looks on their face, they've all come to the realization that, and he just walks up to his girlfriend and just tells her I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And they all I think they all wound up basically shooting to the next life.
Wow.
It was a crazy movie, man. I mean, it was a low budget, real, just well done, just creepy ass movie.
Right on.
Now, going back to TV shows, I thought that was going to be a good TV show.
Right.
But the damn show only ran for one season.
Yeah, I mean, that happens sometimes.
Yeah.
They had a Mortal Kombat, I think it's called Mortal Kombat Conquest. They came out in the 90s. I missed that. I wish they would have made more than one season.
Oh man, this is getting good. We're talking about TV shows that we miss.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a show that I watched when I was a kid. I looked forward to it every Saturday morning when I got up. Was the TV show Land of the Lost. Not the original 60s or whatever they made, the original Land of the Lost show.
Right.
In the early 90s, they did a reboot of the show and kind of made it more kiddie deal with this family being stuck in a different dimension and being back in the dinosaur days, and it's just that was a cool show. They did I think 2 or 3 seasons of that show, but then they ended it before they could ever make it. The whole objective was them to find a way back to their world.
Right.
And every time they got close to getting back to their world, something would always fuck up,
Yeah, that does make for an interesting TV show.
Yeah. If you ever get a chance to look it up on YouTube, dude, check it out. I mean, yeah, it's it was a corny kid show, but what would you do in that deal if you went through a time portal and you went back to fucking dinosaur days?
Right, I'd be tripping out, man. I'd be tripping out for sure. I'd be like, what the hell? I see some fucking dinosaurs and shit like that.
Being chased around by a fucking T-Rex that they call Scarface because the fucking he's got a big ass scar down his face.
Right.
And it seems like no matter what they do to this dinosaur, you can't kill this motherfucker.
Right. That's crazy.
Like they saw him apparently get, every time you think that they put Scarface down, like he miraculously just like can just before you think he's done, he just pops back up like
right.
like shit.
Oh, we got an interesting question here from Daniel.
All right.
How many WWF VHS tapes did Joe purchase back in the day? How many do you think you had?
I don't know, to be honest, dude. I probably had a good couple hundred at one point.
Damn, yeah, that's a solid collection.
I mean, as far as like, you know, mixture of like Boughton movie,
yeah, Boughton. You know, he says, yeah, these are purchased. These he says he's not talking about the non-recorded ones.
Yeah, I mean, I would if I had money and I went to a store and I saw wrestling VHS tapes for sale, I was buying them up.
Yeah, you definitely were.
Yeah, I know at one point, I know for a fact, I had every WWF Royal Rumble VHS tape from 1990 to 1998.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
So you had quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I had all those Royal Rumbles. I had probably a bunch of WrestleManias. I remember buying a VHS copy of WrestleMania 17 where they had The Rock and Austin, where Austin actually turned heel.
Yeah.
That was wild, man. You know, Stone Cold turning fucking heel. Like, you know, it's like, people say, what was the most shocking? I want to ask you, and if anybody's listening, I want to get everybody's opinion on this. What to you was the bigger heel turn? Was it Hulk Hogan when he turned heel and went NWO? Or when Stone Cold Steve Austin turned heel and joined his arch rival Vince McMahon? Think about that one.
Both big moments in the wrestling world.
Yeah. What to you was the bigger heel turn?
I would say, me personally, I think Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
That was pretty big at that time.
Yeah, because you got to figure Hulk Hogan had never been a heel.
Right.
Like, I mean, Austin's been a heel, but when he blew up and became the hottest fucking babyface wrestler out there, with the whole time where he's beating the fuck out of Vince McMahon and, you know, doing what he wants, and that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so.
Right.
And then in 2001, basically fucking turning heel and joining forces with Vince McMahon.
Right.
I mean, that was cool. Like, when he turned heel, he not only turned heel, but he not only joined forces with Vince, but he also joined forces with Triple H, which they had, you know, when they came out and wrestled as a team, as Stone Cold and Triple H, they were given the moniker by Jim Ross as the two-man power trip.
Man, yeah.
I mean, come on. Did you really think that name would stick? Like, the two-man power trip.
Yeah, probably not.
I mean, they were both like big heel turns, like, you know, Hulk Hogan, you know, him turning heel, like the guy that was always like, say your prayers, eat your vitamins, and this and that, and to turn on the world and become like Hollywood Hulk Hogan.
Right.
Like, you just did not think that, man, would that, you never thought that day would ever happen.
Yeah, you just never knew, and it did, and it worked.
Yeah. You want to know something about Hulk Hogan turning heel? WCW, up to the Bash at the Beach, did not know that if Hulk was going to be in on it or not. So, before the matchup, they actually went and got together with Sting and basically said, like, look, if Hulk doesn't do this, like, you need to be the third man. And Sting, and that was the whole thing. If Hulk wouldn't have turned heel, if Hulk wouldn't have wanted to do, you know, the job, that Sting was going to actually turn a heel that night.
Right.
But I don't know, though. I mean, I don't really see that working. I mean, I could have seen it more as, like, honestly, I could have seen it more of Lex Luger, you know, being the third man, because you got to figure he worked with, you know, Kevin Nash and Scott Hall in WWF. You know?
Right. That's true.
I mean, I look at that would have made, I mean, it wouldn't have made sense for Sting to turn heel and join those guys, especially when Sting's the fucking backbone of WCW.
That's true.
Like, you know, Sting is probably the only guy that ever truly just stuck with WCW. Never went anywhere else. Never went to WWE until, like, after his, you know, his whole deal with WCW. But he never, like, he stayed true to WCW from the time he started to WCW's last day.
Right.
That's why I could never see Sting and, you know, being the third man. Like, you know, like, to me it would have made more sense for Lex, or hell, even if Macho Man would have been the third man.
Yeah, you just you never know. But I liked how, you know, what they did in WCW. They rode that wave pretty high back then.
Yeah.
Which was pretty kick-ass back in the late 90s. They took off, man.
When they freaking got together as the NWO, Hogan, Hall, and Nash, and they started bringing in, like, all these other people, like Ted DiBiase and Big Show, or he was the Giant, and then X-Pac, or Six as they called them, and then they even did a point where they had their own, like, version of Sting.
Right.
I remember that. It was right before Fall Brawl. They were going to have, like, 4-on-4 NWO against WCW. And it was going to be Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, Hulk Hogan, and they didn't, you know, yet to name, like, their fourth guy. And they were going to battle basically Sting, Lex Luger, Ric Flair, and Arn Anderson.
Right.
And for the last week leading up to Fall Brawl, they made you believe, they did this deal where you actually thought, like, Sting was jumping ship to the NWO, because they had, like, what appeared is that Sting got out of a limousine and basically attacked and beat up Lex Luger.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the Fall Brawl event, when they're backstage wondering, like, what they're going to do, they don't have a fourth member. And Sting, just like the real Sting, comes in and is like, tell him, like, dude, it wasn't me. What the hell is the matter with you? He's like, hey, I looked right into your eyes when you cheap shot at me. And they go out there, and then, like, they get it down, like, you know, they're all in the ring, and then, you know, the fourth guy comes out from the NWO, and, you know, it comes out, and you see it's like their NWO Sting, and which they're trying. I mean, you can tell right away when you look at him, like that's not fucking Sting. Like he might, you can dress him up all you want to, but you can totally tell that that's not Sting.
Correct.
Yeah. And then, I mean, when they came out, even the fans, like, knew right away when even the announcers were playing, like, it's Sting, I can't believe this, he's jumped in, and it's like, the fans are instantly looking at him like, hey, that's not Sting, and you even hear the crowd chanting at one point, like, we want Sting, we want Sting. And then the buzzer goes off, and then you see, like, the fans erupt because you see the real Sting run out, jump in the ring, start beating the crap out of the whole NWO, and he just tells Lex Luger's like, he stops, he goes, is that proof enough for you right there? Is that proof enough? And then just like leaves the ring and walks off.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And that started his whole WCW pro Sting.
Yeah, I like that. He took like a year or so off from wrestling, but would show up from time to time. You see him up in the fucking balconies or something.
Yeah, it's like that's all he was doing. He was up in the rafters. He wasn't like people wanting to know where he's at. Like, is he in WO? Is he WCW? And it really wasn't until like Uncensored of '97 that he clearly made you realize that he's still WCW. Like he dropped from the ceiling when the NWO was out there. Before you knew it, he was bam, 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 beating the hell out of them, dropping them with Scorpion Death Drops, and made it appear that no, he's not NWO, he's WCW.
Hell yeah. Now let's see here.
Good old Sting. Damn, brown.
Good old Sting. I got an interesting question here for you.
Okay.
Daniel says the first official Royal Rumble aired January 24th, 1988 live, and it was free on the USA Network. He asked, did Joe watch this one live?
I did not. I mean, I watched it down the road, but I mean, I don't think I watched it that was the first Royal Rumble wasn't even a 30-man Royal Rumble like they came to be. The first Royal Rumble was actually only like a 20-man Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
And it was won by
Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Last eliminating the one-man gang.
And he says in 1988, I did not know who Joe existed. Yeah, that's true. I didn't know about you until like 92.
Yeah, we didn't meet till we were in high school in about 90. It's like 92, 93.
Yeah, we didn't become friends until like 93, 94, something like that.
Yeah. But it wasn't until we started having classes together that we started to get to know each other. Then we wound up actually living a block away from each other.
Which is crazy. Let's see here. Next question is, what did Joe...
Man, bad thing about it, I've been stuck with your ass ever since.
Damn.
Just kidding.
It's all in good fun. Now let's see here. Next question is, what did you think of Royal Rumble 1999? He gives it a score in 8 out of 10. With the surprise ending of Vince McMahon won the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, what was stupid though is like, Vince and Stone Cold came out 1 and 2, and like he basically beat the shit out of Vince for a while, and then at one point Vince took off and went off to the back, and Stone Cold chased them. I mean, they weren't eliminated, but they went to the back and went into a room, and when the camera went into the room, fucking Stone Cold was laid out, and like the whole Vince's guys were all standing around him, like like Big Boss Man, Ken Shamrock, but yeah, I mean, it was a cool Royal Rumble. Stone Cold didn't wind up like Vince came back at one point and just sat on commentary while the Royal Rumble was going on, and And then at one point, like, you see like an ambulance like pull up back up in the arena, and Stone Cold gets out, goes back to the ring, winds up whooping everybody's ass, basically getting it back down to him and McMahon again. And just before he's about to finish McMahon off, like, The Rock came out, distracted Austin long enough for Vince to run up behind him and fucking dump him.
Right.
But you know what was funny? Vince won the Royal Rumble that night, and everybody's like thinking, oh my God, Vince is going to WrestleMania to face The Rock? Well, what was funny, they wrote it still in a way that Stone Cold got his title shot at WrestleMania, because the next night Vince went out, and he was even saying that after I won the Royal Rumble, this and that, I signed papers which basically signed my right away to the WWF title match, but we'll get to choose a wrestler of my choosing. And then fucking Shawn Michaels and Stone Cold first came on the Titantron, it was like telling him, like, guess what, Vince? I'm going to WrestleMania. And he's like, oh, what are you talking about? He's like, I'm telling you right now, you dumb son of a bitch, I'm going to WrestleMania to face the champion.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, you must be smoking some of that Texas weed or something, because there's no way. He's like, not only am I telling you that, Vince, this guy right here is telling you the same thing. And he was sitting next to Shawn Michaels, who was the commissioner at the time. And he tells Vince, like, last night when you were signing those papers, signing away your ticket to WrestleMania, well, guess what? When you signed yourself out of that matchup, Stone Cold signed his way in, because it clearly states in the rule book that if the winner of the Royal Rumble cannot or will not participate in the main event at WrestleMania, he's like, the match and everything would go to the runner-up in the Royal Rumble, which was Stone Cold. Which that was pretty cool. I mean, not only that, but the '99 Royal Rumble was also the first time that a woman entered the Royal Rumble match.
Which was
when Chyna came out.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. She came out and actually eliminated fucking Mark Henry. Like, damn, Chyna, you fucking badass girl.
Yeah, she had some power to her.
Yeah. Dude, especially her early days, she would beat the shit. I mean, the way she threw motherfuckers around, man, like, you just never expected a girl to throw somebody, a guy around like that. I mean, imagine how many times she fucking threw, like, I watched one deal where she threw Mick Foley around like nothing.
Yes, because she's got some power. She's built,
Yeah.
pretty tough.
She was cool, man. But moving on.
Moving on, let's see. I think we'll take a break from the questions. We'll be doing that for quite a while. We'll go back to tag teams if you want.
Oh yeah, we could talk about some more tag teams.
We got the Dudley Boys. We got the Hardy Boys.
Dudley Boys.
Yeah. We got I don't think we didn't really get into the Rockers yet.
Oh yeah, well we'll talk about that right now. Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty.
Yep.
Or as Bobby the Brain Heenan used to call Marty Jannetty, used to call him Marty Confetti.
They were pretty young back in the 80s.
Yeah, when they wrestled for AWA.
Oh yeah.
They were part of that infamous Wrestle Rock Rumble video.
Let me look them up.
Yeah, they wrestled. They actually wrestled in the AWA as the Midnight Rockers, and that's what they originally went under. And then when they got signed to WWF, they just shortened it to the Rockers. Which they were a cool tag team. Colorful. Ring attire. Coming out doing their high flying moves. Their double fist drop deal. It's like. Yeah, it's like these guys were cool. Never realizing that, dude. It's funny looking back at them as a tag team now and seeing like damn Shawn Michaels and that deal. It's like, wow, it's funny. Like before he was the Heartbreak Kid, he was the Rocker, Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, it says here the Rockers were an American professional wrestling tag team. Consisted of Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty, who teamed from 85 to 92. And they teamed for the NWA, such a American Wrestling Association, which is pretty cool.
They were like World Tag Team Champions in AWA for a while.
Yep, and then they were in the WWF until they separated, I guess, in '92. They broke up.
Yeah,
you notice how he gave him that hell of a kick? That looked pretty fucking real, by the way.
Yeah, well, I'm sure Marty probably wanted it. Like, they probably agreed to do it that way. It's like, hey,
he looked like he caught him right in the face, pretty well, or right in the neck or something like that. He kicked him pretty good. I don't know how hard he hit him, but it looked like it connected pretty good.
Yeah, it's funny, Shawn Michaels used that super kick, but originally he never used that super kick as a finisher. Like his original finisher was like a back suplex deal. Like he would hit you with the super kick first, and he would grab you, but not like belly to back, but he would grab you like from the side, and he just like he would either use like a back suplex or he would use basically a pile driver to finish his opponents off at that time.
Oh, right on.
I don't remember when it exactly was that he just used a super kick. I don't think it was. He really didn't start using the super kick as his finisher until probably like the mid '90s, I would say.
Yeah, it was a smart thing for him to just be a single wrestler, because then he became like the superstar.
Yeah. Look at how he blew up after.
Yeah, he definitely blew up. Can't say the same for his Marty, but
it sucks. It sucks for Marty Jannetty, but from what I heard, the drugs and shit got him to where he just wasn't,
Right.
It sucks, but. Shawn Michaels, like I said, was the best move for him because, you look at his career from that point on, being the Heartbreak Kid.
Right. Total change.
Now people are calling him the BH Kid, the bald head kid.
Right. So they joined the WWF in 1988.
Yeah.
Until '92.
Yeah.
See here, which is cool.
Do you know they actually had a match where they won the tag team titles from the Hart Foundation?
Oh yeah.
But then, like the next day, they reversed the decision because of a deal with the rope breaking at one point. And I was like, wait a minute, how are you going to reverse the decision because of the rope breaking? I forget though, something happened where they just reversed the decision. I think like Marty Jannetty and Shawn got in like a fight or something, and they're like, we're not putting the titles on these guys.
Yeah, I know they got into real life fist fight
Yeah.
back in the day. His fucking hair got pulled out of his head.
It's crazy. I mean, you gotta figure, man, that lifestyle that they were living at that time,
Oh,
you
yeah,
know.
you're running in 100, man.
Going out and fucking just, you know, not just that, but, you know, you figure they're, you know, working, like doing wrestling matches, and afterwards going out to bars and staying out all night and getting drunk as fuck, and
yeah,
you know, it don't matter who you are, like, you know, you have your differences when you're that way, and you just wound up having your casual fist fights.
Yeah, I believe that from what I heard, Shawn Michaels was at a bar one time and got knocked out by somebody or a group of people or something.
Yeah, he got pulled out of a car by 9 people and got his ass whooped.
Oh, that's crazy.
It was him, the British Bulldog, and Sean Waltman. Apparently, they were all in a car. Sean was sleeping in the car, and these guys fucking went out, grabbed Sean out of the car.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I just watched a shoot with the old cowboy Bill Watts, and he was talking about that angle, talking about, like, you know, your top talent gets his ass whooped by 9 Marines. He's like, first of all, back in my territory, guys, like, you know, like the whole fucking town took 3 of my top guys.
Yeah.
You know, talk about, like, your top talent gets his ass whooped and can't make a show because of it. You gotta that's what, supposedly that's what happened. Like when Sean got his ass whooped, they had to, like, write Sean off and rewrite a bunch of shit because, you know, with Shawn Michaels not able to participate. I tell you, one guy it worked out well for, because of that happened to Shawn Michaels. He had to forfeit the Intercontinental title, and in which they wound up giving it to Dean Douglas, and Douglas lost it like 10 minutes later to Razor Ramon.
Yeah, I mean, wrestlers have, you know, this is why I would probably stay out of bars, because wrestlers get into fights, and for some odd reason, when you get that liquid courage in you, man, you know.
Yeah, well, and not only that, you get too much liquid courage in you, and it puts you in a state where you know, that you can't even fight back because you're so fucked up.
Right. Or that, or, you know, you feel like you could just take on the world. You know?
Yeah, like you think, the old infamous saying is, you think you're 10 foot tall and bulletproof.
Right. That's why they challenge these wrestlers. I'm like, nah, man, I don't care how drunk I am. I'm not stupid enough to fucking be in a bar and challenge a wrestler to a fist fight.
I tell you who the dumbasses were, the ones that would try to challenge the actual tough guy wrestler.
Yeah, like Ming and shit. People like that.
Yeah, Ming, or AKA Haku. Shit, from what
Ravishing Rick Rude.
Yeah. Ravishing Rick Rude, man. He was he was a true badass motherfucker. Like, I mean, from what I've heard about him, like, he was a down and out, true tough son of a bitch. But I mean, you know, he was cool as long as, like, you were cool. But if he had beef with you, most likely he was gonna beat your ass.
Right, and that's somebody that you really don't want to get in a fight with.
Yeah, dude, they did a fucking deal where when Sting won the WCW title, I just saw this on YouTube a while back, where Sting, you know, was backstage celebrating, and Rick Rude came in with a drink, you know, offering Sting a drink, and Sting's like, I don't want your drink. He's like, oh, you too good to have a drink with me, huh? And he threw it in his face, and dude, they started brawling, and if you watch the way they were brawling, Rick Rude was kicking Sting's ass.
Damn.
Like Sting was trying his best to fight back, but you could see, dude, Rude was fucking, like, you was getting Sting was throwing some punches and kicks, but Rude was really fucking wailing away on him.
Well, you could tell Rick, he is tough, man.
Yeah.
I mean, some of these wrestlers, you could just tell. You don't even have to, you don't have to guess or nothing. You could just tell they're tough sons of bitches,
I always liked Rick Rude's WCW theme music. He started off going, "He's simply ravishing." Ow.
Yeah. That's somebody that we don't really talk about, actually, in our podcast. We don't never mention Rick Rude that much.
Yeah, I don't know why, because,
he's well known.
You got to figure he's one of them guys, too, that not only worked for WCW, but, he was in WWF as well. Both of his runs there was...
Right.
His feud with the Ultimate Warrior, WrestleMania 5, when he won the Intercontinental Championship from Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Which basically the Warrior won the belt back later. The original plan, how they were going to have champion versus champion at WrestleMania 6? Do you know it was originally going to be set up to be fucking Hulk Hogan and Rick Rude?
For WrestleMania 6?
Yeah, it was going to be champion versus champion.
Oh, that would have been interesting.
Like, they were really going to push Rude to the fuck, but something happened, later that year where, I forget what happened. He got suspended or he got hurt or something, or he wound up, leaving, and that's when he later wound up going to WCW. They had him win the title at WrestleMania 5, and from what was supposedly happening, he was supposed to trade the belt back and forth with Warrior, and then by WrestleMania 6, they were going to book him to be, him and Hulk Hogan, which that would have been awesome. That was would have been a cool ass match, ravishing Rick Rude and, and Hulk Hogan, man.
Yeah, that would have been real interesting to see.
Yeah, but it's like you said, always how plans, can change.
Oh yeah, things change.
What the deal was with Rude leaving and going to WCW, it was like, well, fuck it, we'll go with our backup plan. Let's go with the Warrior, Ultimate Warrior, and Hulk Hogan.
Right.
Which, dude, to me, what would have been more epic? Hogan and Rude or Hogan and Warrior?
That's a good question. I think the better match would have been Hogan and Rick Rude.
Yeah, because it's good guy and bad guy.
Right, but at that time, the bigger match probably would have been, Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan, because they were big at that time.
Because not just that, but you had Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior were your two biggest baby faces.
Right. As far as, but their wrestling abilities were nothing great, I can tell you that.
No.
But Rick Rude could wrestle.
Uh-huh.
So, I would have liked to have seen Rick Rude take on Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 6. That would have been interesting.
I'd have liked to have seen them fought when Hogan came to WCW, but by the time Hulk Hogan came to WCW, Rick Rude's career got fucked up by that match with Sting.
Right.
Because that would have been cool too if Rude wouldn't have got hurt and still would have been competing. I'd like to have seen him and Hulk, square off.
Yeah.
It just seemed like it was never meant to be, though. Because by the time, in WC, I know they Hogan and Rick Rude did have a match. You could find it on YouTube where they fought I think it was late '80s or something, where they had a house show match when Rude had the long hair and all that stuff. I don't remember much of that match, but I like to see them had a main headline pay-per-view match.
Yeah, That's why I said it would have been interesting to see them do a WrestleMania together. That would have been awesome.
But it never happened.
Things that never happened that would have been awesome. And that would have been one of them.
That's what I like about reading on the internet. You know, you find these sites where people are talking about, like, storylines that were supposed to happen but never did happen.
Right.
And there was some wild stories. Like, I was like, wow, that would have been cool. That would have been fucking cool.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I can imagine there are probably endless ideas out there of awesomeness.
Yeah.
Speaking of tag team matches, what are your thoughts on the Freebirds?
It depends on which version of the Freebirds you're talking about.
Well,
the original
old school guys, Michael Hayes, Terry Gordy, Buddy Roberts.
Yeah, I'm saying, I know they were the original Freebirds, but then in WCW years later, like him and Jimmy Jam Garvin were the fabulous Freebirds.
Yeah. These guys ended up in the Highlander movie in the beginning.
Yeah.
Which was cool. They were pretty fucking big in the 80s. I mean, when they took on the Von Erichs, that was some fucking wild shit, man.
Yeah, that one big 6-man tag, Come As You Are, like Bad Street, or was it Bad Street Fight or something?
Something like that.
They all came out dressed in like jeans and boots.
Yeah.
And I mean, and even like they wound up
Bad
like
Street USA.
Yeah, and then they battled Kevin Von Erich, Mike Von Erich, and even Fritz. Like, came out of retirement to fight in that match.
Yeah, the crowds were fucking going wild.
Yeah, and what I liked about that deal, they weren't in like a building. They were out in like a wide open fucking stadium.
Yeah.
Like that was cool.
You want to talk about people that were like cheering and shit and going wild? Go watch some of those matches.
Yeah.
You hear the people fucking losing it. They're like just screaming and cheering and shit.
Yeah, kick that motherfucker's head.
These people, man, back then, man.
Oh yeah.
Wrestling was fucking awesome.
Yeah, it just sucks what wound up happening to Terry Gordy later on in life, man.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, 'cause I mean, he was a fucking badass, dude. Like,
yeah, he was legit.
Remember that Mick Foley said that he actually was supposed to have one of those death matches with Terry Gordy, and he had to tell Terry Gordy straight up, like, just bring it, man. Just fucking bring it.
I believe he talks about that in the Dark Side of the Ring, which we did a review on that episode.
Yeah, and I mean, and he told him just bring it on, and he said, man, when Terry started bringing it on, it was like the old, like he saw like the old Terry Gordy in that match.
Right. Yeah.
It just sucks, man. Like, I'm glad they came out with those Dark Side of the Rings. Like, I mean, a lot of the wrestlers, you can find out stuff that you never heard about. Like,
that's why I love watching them and doing reviews on them, because you find out a lot of stuff that you had no idea about some of these guys, because they never did anything with them as far as documentaries or anything.
Yeah,
a lot of them got overlooked.
Like Brutus the Barber Beefcake. Like, I know he had that face injury, but I didn't know his injury was that severe.
Yeah, I mean, he almost passed away because of it.
Yeah,
almost took him out. It was so bad.
I mean, it's amazing that he was able to come back. But you know what, though? I think having all those steel plates and shit in his face, like, when he came back, I mean, yeah, he wrestled some matches, but he never really had until, like, he went to WCW, like, full, like, wrestling matches.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't until he went to WCW and wound up being the Masked Man trying to take out Hulk Hogan, you know, and
yeah, that's old school times right there.
Yeah. How about the mini? Speaking of Brutus Beefcake, how about the mini gimmicks he went under in WCW?
Yeah.
He went from the Butcher to the Man with No Name to Zodiac for the Dungeon of Doom, and then went to the Booty Man, and then left and came back and was known as the Disciple.
Yeah, I don't know why they would do that. I mean, just stick with one thing, and if that one thing don't work, you know, maybe
I'll tell you
try
what,
something
though,
else.
dude, when they brought him back as the Disciple, that was the baddest looking version of Brutus Beefcake. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Like at first, you didn't even know that was Brutus Beefcake at first. Like when he came in all jacked up and had a grown beard and wearing like, he kind of almost like when he got in the ring, he kind of reminded me of fucking that one dude from what was that fucking movie? Almost kind of reminded me of like Lee Tergesen in that fucking Point Break movie.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Remember what I'm talking about? Like, went on to become like Beecher and Oz.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah, he had that same type of look.
So yeah.
Except when Brutus was jacked up.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute, is that Lee? I was like, I couldn't figure it out at first, but then when they finally like brought him up and you actually got a good look at him, then you could really tell, like, wait a minute, that's fucking Brutus the Barber Beefcake. What the fuck?
Yeah. I believe at that time he had lost weight and put on muscle and grew a beard out.
Yeah, and dude, what was so crazy, like, he had that look of like, he could have came out and been like a badass dude.
Yeah.
The only bad thing is, you know what he was using for a finisher? He was using the fucking stunner, but he was calling it the Apocalypse.
That's cool.
I was like, but damn, dude.
Yeah, that's
I think old Stone Cold has a problem with that. He'll be using his stunner.
He's using his stunner. I don't
think number one stunner, baby. The number one stunner.
Let's see, other tag teams. We got the Dudley Boys. What are your thoughts on them?
Bubba Ray and Devon. Devon, get the tables.
These were hardcore wrestlers, you know, from the ECW days.
Yeah.
Also known as Team 3D.
Yeah.
That's a cool name, by the way. I like that name.
Yeah, well, when they left WWF and they couldn't use the Dudley Boys name anymore, like they had to come up with their own name, and I think they came up with that. Not only did they come up with that Team 3D, you know, name, but but Bubba Ray and Devon actually like wasn't going to get screwed over like with the Dudley Boys deal. They actually owned that gimmick.
Oh, good.
Like they owned, like they trademarked it. Like good Team 3D is our deal, you know.
Right. Which I like that name. I prefer the Dudley Boys, but I like that name as well.
You know what though? What was crazy though? Like Bubba Ray was always a cool dude, but when he in TNA, when he turned on Devon and became Bully Ray, like he really kind of like Shawn Michaels after he dumped Marty Jannetty, like how he became a badass heel. Like that's how Bubba Ray was in TNA.
Yeah.
Like he was a badass. I mean, he even started up his own tried to form his own group of that group called Aces and Eights, and was like the TNA champion and like the most biggest bad guy in TNA at one point.
That's
Which
cool.
I thought that was cool, is because, man, it's like you watch him for years as Bubba Ray Dudley teaming up with Devon as the Dudley Boys, and to see him go out and strike out on his own and become a world champion, it's like, hell yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, I always respected those guys. They're pretty good. And,
the 3D. Did you ever see the fucking deal on YouTube where they got pissed off at a fan because I forgot what had happened. It didn't show what happened. It showed the Dudley Boys like cussing out this fan, like calling him a piece of shit, and like, you know, we all need to kick your ass the fuck out of here.
Oh, damn. Yeah, I believe I did.
Yeah, Paul Heyman even comes out and like throws the guy some money, be like, here's double your money back, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, I remember seeing shit like that. That's crazy, dude.
I know, dude. Bubba Ray was like a fucking crazy guy on the mic in ECW. Like, I remember, like, he came out on one episode and was just fucking just cussing out the fans, and he's like, look at what we got over here. We got a guy that's too fat, can't find the right size clothes, and he's like, we gotta I forgot what he said. I want to say it. He's like, we got a mother over here that's teaching her daughter how to suck dick. I was like, whoa, what the fuck? You remember that one?
Yeah, and that is pretty fucking crazy. I mean, they can get away with shit like that in ECW.
Yeah, dude. I tell you what was funny. Okay, in Dark Side of the Ring, they did a Dark Side of the Ring with the Sandman, and he said when Paul Heyman, like when he started up like ECW as Extreme Championship Wrestling, like he didn't give a fuck. Like he was trying to tell him, like, hey Paul, I forgot my ring gear. He's like, I don't give a fuck. Wear whatever the fuck you want to wear.
Yeah.
And
I think that was Sandman.
Yeah, and that's why you started seeing Sandman come out just wearing like, he wear like sweatpants and like a t-shirt and stuff.
Right. Yeah, I remember them talking about that.
That was one of my favorite, probably my all-time favorite ECW wrestler was the Sandman.
Yeah, he was pretty badass, bringing out that big cane.
Yeah, coming out to fucking Metallica, coming out in the audience, popping a beer, fucking slamming down a beer while you're smoking a cigarette, bouncing the can off your head a few times to cut your head open before you even get to the match.
Yeah.
And those fans loved it, dude. When you hear that ding, 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 it's like, oh fuck.
Yeah. He made his mark in the wrestling world, that's for sure.
Yeah.
It's pretty fucking awesome.
He went and tried his luck in WCW and wound up like saying, man, fuck this shit, take me back home to ECW.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where the Sandman like really belonged, was like in ECW.
Yeah, agreed. That's
his rivalry with Tommy Dreamer was a big time rivalry.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny, they were big time rivals in the early stage of ECW, but it was funny, like once they got past their feud, like they became like best friends in a way. Like in the later years of ECW, like anytime Tommy was in trouble, like even when the Sandman left WCW and came back to ECW, he actually he came back to save Tommy Dreamer from getting his ass kicked.
Damn. Yeah.
And they wound up like after Sandman cleaned house, he started pulling out the beers and throwing them to Tommy Dreamer and his fucking wife Beulah, and they all just were slamming beers in the ring and singing "Exit Life."
Yeah.
That was cool.
Those are some of the best times of wrestling, I feel.
Yeah, I tell you, one guy who really went to ECW and really reinvented himself was Raven.
Yeah.
Because think about, before he went to ECW and he was fucking Johnny Polo, the manager of the Quebecers in WWF.
Yeah.
And prior to that, in a Global Wrestling Federation, he went as Scott, and I think he even had a stint in WCW where he went underneath the name Scotty Flamingo.
Yeah.
Scotty Flamingo to fucking Johnny Polo to Raven.
That happens with wrestlers. I mean, look at Kane. Before that, he was a tooth guy.
Well, way before that, his character was Unabomb.
Was he?
Yeah, in Smoky Mountain Wrestling.
Oh, damn.
He had the character. Him and Al Snow were a badass tag team in Smoky Mountain Wrestling.
Kick ass.
And then he went to WWF, became Isaac Yankum, DDS, and which that was so silly. Him being a fucking dentist with fucking rotten, disgusting teeth.
Yeah. That's why I said some sort of tooth guy, a dentist. And then finally Kane, which got over.
Well, before Kane, they repackaged him and made him the fake Diesel.
Yeah.
And he worked a bit as the fake Diesel, and then went underneath the transformation later on to become Kane.
Yeah. And that's what worked.
Yeah, that's where his character totally kicked off, dude. Like,
right.
I mean, the brother of the Undertaker.
Same thing with Stone Cold. Stone Cold wasn't always Stone Cold.
No, he was stunning Steve Austin.
Yeah. So it happens sometimes where a wrestler comes out, he does all right, and then he goes maybe through 1 or 2 or 3 name changes until boom, he's got that it character,
Oh yeah.
Which is awesome.
Trying to think other characters that had a lot of name changes.
The Undertaker.
Yeah, I mean he was going. He not only worked as Mean Mark Callis in WCW, but he was also, I think, I can't remember correctly, it was him or I know he wrestled as Doomsday in USWA, and then he went to I think that was Kane that played Doomsday. But I'm saying about there was a Doomsday character, something like that. It was like they had a character that was based off the Road Warrior movie, like the main bad guy with the mask deal.
Right.
They had a character like that, and it was, I think it was being played by the Undertaker.
I know the Undertaker was masked at first. He had a match with Bruiser Brody, and Brody beat the shit out of him.
Yeah.
In that match, I think that was like his first match. He was masked.
Yeah, I mean, look at that. I mean, he wrestled all that time. He wrestled WCW as Mean Mark with the skyscraper gimmick, and then I said he went to WWF and got repackaged as The Undertaker.
And that was it.
That was it. Let the good times roll, motherfucker.
Same thing with Yokozuna. He wasn't always Yokozuna.
Yeah.
I think he was like a Hawaiian type guy beforehand.
Yeah, that's the funny thing about it, man. Like, Yokozuna was a Samoan.
Right.
And they brought him in and tried
Samoan, Hawaiian.
Make him think that he was Japanese.
All right. I used to always thought when I was younger in the 90s, I always just thought he was Japanese.
That's what I thought too, because he had that Japanese look.
Right.
Like, he didn't have that like Samoan look.
Right. So it's interesting that once they get that it character, man, it's game over, man. They just shine, which is awesome.
Yeah, man. It's another wrestler that went through a lot of name changes, and he always just went back to remember Terry Taylor?
Yeah.
Remember he wrestled in the WWF in the late '80s as the Red Rooster.
Hell of a name for a wrestler.
You remember that?
Vaguely.
He had like a red like rooster tail that like on his head, and he'd come out like clucking like a damn rooster, like go 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 go.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, how in the world? I mean, it happens, but you would think like, how in the world would something like that get over?
Yeah. I mean, it's funny. Like he was getting it over though. I mean, he had he started off like was going to be a member of like the Heenan family, and then he got pissed off with Bobby Heenan, and he wound up having a rivalry with the Brooklyn Brawler.
Yeah.
The Brooklyn Brawler. They took a jobber wrestler by the name of Steve Lombardi and repackaged him to be like, you're going to be the Brooklyn Brawler.
Oh yeah.
And go out there in a dirty Brooklyn shirt with pants, and I mean that was a good gimmick for him, but it never. I mean, it was a cool gimmick, but it never really did much for him. He was still basically like a jobber wrestler.
Right.
And it's just like, I mean, that was a cool name change for him, but and like a outfit change, but as far as like giving him he had like I said, that one little rivalry with the Red Rooster, and then basically he was, next thing you know, he was in just jobber deals again.
Yeah, that's something.
Had they tried to repackage him in the 90s as a goofball baseball player named Abe Knuckleball Shorts. Yeah.
And also another one is Hardcore Holly. He used to be Sparkplug.
Yeah. Oh my God! I forgot about.
That's pretty bad, man.
Originally, he was Thurman. He was Thurman Sparky Plug.
Yeah.
And then they later on they changed it to Bob Sparkplug Holly.
Yeah.
And then like he just basically dumped at one point the whole Sparkplug name and just went as Bob Holly, or he was Bombastic Bob as part of the new Midnight Express. And then he was simply Bob Holly, and then when he wound up winning his first Hardcore Championship, he became Hardcore Holly.
Yeah, good stuff, man. Which I prefer that, Hardcore Holly. That fits.
Yeah, well, when he really beefed up and shaved his head and became more of that badass tough guy deal, like, yeah, that's when he was Hardcore Holly.
Yeah.
I liked it when he brought in his cousin Crash, and then they eventually brought in their cousin Molly Holly, which I miss Mom. I mean, I know she's still alive and she's still out there, but as far as her as being a wrestler, it's like I miss her.
Yeah, she was pretty good, man. Good looking too.
Yeah, and she could wrestle.
Oh yeah.
Like you know, she came from a school of wrestling, man. Like she wasn't just no damn girl coming out there and just didn't know a wrist lock from a wrist watch, but she could go, and you know.
Hell yeah, I always liked her. She was cool.
She did that good girl gimmick for a while, then she did that whole bad girl routine where she changed her, and that was good for her. Like, you know, she kind of stepped away from, you know, her cousins and changed her whole outfit and gimmick, and doing that gimmick as a pure, you know, role model woman, and she, like, you know, she totally, like, always saying, like, I use my wrestling ability to get me over. I don't have to wear skimpy clothes or sleep around to get around this company. And she always, like, was talking about girls like Lita and Trish Stratus and all that.
Right.
And she finally won the women's title, dude. I was like, I remember being so happy for her. I was like, hell yeah, Molly, you go, girl.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Let's see. Back to tag teams. What do you think of the New Age Outlaws?
All I got to say is one thing about that. Can you know what I got to say?
Yes, sir.
Oh, you didn't know? Your ass better call somebody.
Yeah. I love the segment that you recorded years ago.
Where, with Road Dogg and Chris Jericho.
Jericho. Yeah, where Road Dogg tells Chris Jericho, "Hey, why don't you shut up, bitch?" I thought that was hilarious, and I still have that recording. Not sure if I can post that or not because I'll probably get blocked.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen it on anything ever, you know, afterwards. You know, I haven't seen it in any DVD or anything from the WWE on their network or on their YouTube channel. So I wonder if I could actually post that and get away with it.
Yeah, who knows? But
that was pretty funny.
Just the way how he just said, he's like, "Hey, why don't you shut up, bitch?"
Yeah, because Chris Jericho kept, you know, running his mouth about some shit. And eventually the Road Dogg's like, all right, I've had enough of this, you know.
But yeah, no, I'm talking about, like, now as far as tag team with Road Dogg and Billy Gunn. Yeah. Like, yeah, dude, I mean, that was basically their last straw, because back in the day, dude, in '96, they were given some shitty fucking gimmicks, dude. Like 96, 97, like, you figure, you know, Road Dogg had the gimmick of the roadie, and then coming back as like the real Double J.
Yeah.
And even Billy Gunn, like, you know, he got out of that tag team deal with his so-called brother Bart Gunn, and wound up doing a singles run, and he wound up getting the character of Rockabilly, with Honky Tonk Man being his manager. It was basically going to be like the new modern version of the Honky Tonk Man.
Oh, okay.
And it just sucked. Like, and then finally, like, that's why, like, Road Dogg came out, you know, dressed up as his old roadie gimmick, you know, calling himself the roadie, though he was just calling himself the Road Dogg, and he was telling Billy Gunn, like, look, man, me and you together, ooh, I smell money.
Yeah. And it got over.
Yeah, he wound up dumping Honky Tonk Man. Next thing you know, they came out. Originally, they didn't come up with the name New Age Outlaws till like later on. Like, it would just simply come out as the Road Dogg Jesse James, the badass Billy Gunn.
Yeah, I always liked that. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. And then eventually when they came up with the New Age Outlaws name, that's how Road Dogg. I liked it how Road Dogg used to always like do his own like entrance, like intro. He'd be like, "Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, proudly brings to you it's WWF Tag Team Champions of the World." And if you and Billy Gunn would come up when they were part of DX, he would always follow it up with, "And if you're not done with that, we got 2 words for you, suck it."
Yeah, they just don't make wrestling like they used to, man.
Oh, can you believe Billy Gunn's like 60 years old? Or I think he's in his, pretty much is like almost up to 60 years old, but motherfucker still wrestling and still looks like a badass.
Yeah, he keeps himself in really good shape.
Yeah.
I can't say the same for the what's his face, the other one though.
Oh, Road Dogg. Oh yeah, dude, he's
kind of let himself go there.
Well, you gotta figure, man. If he's retired, like Road Dogg's just basically like he's like an agent for WWE.
Right. But what's his face? The other one, man. Yeah, he keeps himself in great shape.
Yeah. How about the fact that he's got his sons working in AEW now?
Oh, really?
Yeah, Billy Gunn, his Austin and Colt, the Guns.
Oh, okay. Good. Yeah, I don't really know much about it.
Yeah.
So
I know that like basically like he brought his sons in. They had a rivalry with this one tag team that Billy Gunn was friends with, and then basically his sons like turned on him, and Billy's like with the one team, and his sons are like basically on their own.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, last I've seen. I mean, I don't know what's going on now because, like I said, I don't really keep up with much of wrestling anymore. But
right. Yeah, me neither.
It's sad because, you know, like in the '90s into the 2000s, like I would never thought I would have said that I would actually just not even really care to watch wrestling anymore. Like, because in the '90s, like I never missed a show. Like every Saturday morning, getting up and watching WCW Worldwide and WWF Superstars, and it's like I never missed, you know, any of those shows. And it's like now it's like I have no idea what's going on in wrestling now.
Well, it's changed into like garbage for the most part.
Yeah, it's not like the wrestling like we remember, the colorful characters, the big bad dudes, like
yeah, it's just a whole different thing, you know.
Like, yeah, I mean, wrestlers, a lot of them don't even look like wrestlers anymore.
Yeah, it's just crazy.
Like, they just look like, you know, like average people coming in and with like just street clothes on. Like,
well, I mean, there are some good ones, you know, around, but yeah, it's just like who stands out like they did back in the '90s. You know, you had fucking Stone Cold in the '90s who popped like a motherfucker.
You had I mean, look at it in the '90s. You had guys like Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock.
Hell yeah.
You know, you had like people like Vader. Back in the day, you know, you had fucking...
Yeah, Goldust.
Yeah.
You know, you had all these colorful characters.
Yeah. Goldust's character was a freaking trip. Like, I mean, you know, like when he came out, that was Dustin Rhodes, but...
Right.
The gimmick that he was given and the stuff that he was doing was just like, I don't know, why?
Well, it worked and it got over. I mean, beforehand, he wasn't as, you know, well known.
I mean, he was well known in WCW.
Well, yeah, but not in the WWF.
Yeah.
Until he became Goldust.
Well, that was his whole. From what Dustin has said, that was his whole reason to becoming Goldust, because he wanted to create his own legacy. He didn't want to just be Dustin Rhodes, because everybody always, he was always in the shadow
of his dad. Right. So I can understand that.
Like, he wanted to, so as they say, carve his own direction.
And I understand that and respect that, and it worked.
Because, like he said, you will never forget the name of Goldust.
Yeah. And that character definitely got over.
Yeah, the character got over until they gave him a stupid deal in the early 2000s where they made it seem like he got electrocuted, and like every time he tried to cut an interview, he would start like, I'm like, come on, man, why are you making him such a joke?
Yeah.
He's a fucking legend. It's like, giving these lame gimmicks. I mean, being like a stutter, but it was cool though. Like, I remember that storyline that him and Booker T were a tag team.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That reminds me, another tag team with the Harlem Heat.
Can you dig it, sucker?
Yeah. I used to like that, man. Powerful guys.
Do you know what I remember? I'll tell you this. Probably not a lot of people remember. I remember Harlem Heat before they even wrestled in WCW.
Oh, yeah?
I remember when they wrestled in Global Wrestling Federation, going by the name The Ebony Experience.
Oh, kick ass.
Yeah. And I mean, they started off there, and it did well. I think they won the tag team titles there, and then originally when they came to WCW, when they were called Harlem Heat, they weren't being called Booker T and Stevie Ray. They were being called Kane and Cole.
Oh, okay.
And sometime later, they just dumped the whole Kane and Cole name and let them use their, Booker T and Stevie Ray name.
Yeah.
And I mean, once they fucking started making a name for themselves, and it was like, oh man, the team was a badass team.
Yeah, I liked them in WCW.
Yeah. I remember when when they became champions for the first time, they had this whole deal where they always came out with like a phone, and right before the match or even during, they would get like phone calls and like, yeah, I got you. And then like even after the match, they would get on the phone and be like, people were like, who are they talking to, and then later on at a Clash of Champions event, it actually showed it was Sensational Sherry that was actually was the one on the phone, like giving them the direction.
Yeah, right on.
And she came out and joined them as their manager, calling herself Sister Sherry.
Yeah, she was pretty cool.
Yeah, Sherry Martel. She was always she was a tough chick, dude.
Well, yeah, I mean she's from the old school.
Yeah. I remember in a match that the last appearance that Sherry ever made for WCW, she got dumped totally on her damn head by Medusa, and actually legit fucking knocked out cold.
Damn.
What was fucked? I mean, Medusa grabbed her in like a belly to back suplex, and when she flipped her, like you saw Sherry basically land totally right on her fucking head.
Yeah, that sucks.
Which was messed up is after Sherry was knocked out, Medusa went over to her and just like started slapping her, started hitting her, started banging her head off the damn mat. Like, damn, dude, don't you like? And Sherry was pissed off about that because it's like, you know, she felt like that was very unsafe. You know, getting knocked out, and then you're gonna keep, you know, attacking her, slamming her head and shit as she's out cold, like, you know.
Yeah, I mean, if someone's legit out cold, you should probably stop.
Yeah, you're not going to keep slapping them. You know, you're out cold and you're taking their head and just smashing it like violently off the fucking ring over and over. Like, but then again, look what Jake the Snake Roberts did to fucking Ricky the Dragon Steamboat when he was unconscious, doing the whole snake to his face deal.
Yeah. He had to do, at least he wasn't smacking them and shit.
Yeah, that I mean, I do get that was fucking wrong, you know.
Right.
But I think that's why Sherry wound up quitting, because, you know, that was like, felt that Medusa was fucking totally unsafe.
Yeah, I agreed.
You know what's crazy? Speaking of Medusa, you know, she went from being a woman wrestler, and then when her time in wrestling was over, she became a monster truck driver.
Really?
Yeah. She drove her own monster truck. She made a monster truck named Medusa, and she actually ran the monster truck series.
Oh, that's cool.
They used to have a show on TNN called Motor Madness, and back in the late 90s, early 2000s, and Medusa actually like ran a truck. They had several like wrestling monster trucks. They had like Goldberg had a monster truck, but he didn't drive it. Medusa had a truck. They even made an NWO fucking monster truck.
Oh, that's kick-ass.
Yeah, I mean, the only bad thing about it, the NWO monster truck was just a Chevrolet truck, you know, basically painted black with the NWO logos on the door.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a pretty fast, badass truck, you know, and, you know, that was cool. Like, they getting into the, you know, wrestling was getting into the monster truck business for a while.
Yeah, that's pretty kick-ass.
Hell yeah.
I'm all for that. By the way, how's your battery life on your phone? I know we're over 2 hours here.
Yeah, 37%, bro.
Oh, okay, we're good. We'll keep going.
Well, for another 20 minutes, because I have to go there and check my dogs.
Yeah, that's all good. We'll go for a little bit.
Yeah.
Not too much longer. But let's see. Did we talk about the Hart Foundation?
We did not. Bret Hart and Jim the Anvil Neidhart. Yeah, baby. Yeah.
Yeah. Pulling out his chin. You know, with his chin beard. They had some interesting promos.
Yeah.
Back in the day. Yeah, the Hart Foundation was pretty cool.
One of I tell you what, dude. And the first time that I think that the Hart Foundation really started to become known in WWF was in WrestleMania 2 in that Battle Royal that they did.
Oh, yeah?
Came down to Bret and Anvil against Andre the Giant. And Andre fucking eliminated them both.
Well, of course, look how big Andre is.
Well, he eliminated Anvil first, and then Bret was gonna jump off the top rope on him, and Andre just went and grabbed him like, "What the fuck you doing, man? Get out of here!"
Yeah, that's awesome.
That was cool. I mean,
is there any matches that stand out to you from those guys?
The Hart Foundation, yeah, quite a few. Like, like I was saying earlier, that deal with the British Bulldogs.
Oh yeah, those guys, all four of them, man.
Yeah, when they won, I mean that deal where Dynamite, couldn't compete, had to be laid out, and Davey Boy had to wrestle the whole. I mean, this sucks, man. Like,
yeah, the four of them were fantastic wrestlers.
But when the Hart Foundation won the titles, I mean, they were a pretty badass, like, heel tag team. I mean, they held them till they wound up losing them to Tito Santana and Rick Martel, the Strike Force.
The Strike Force.
Yeah. That's right. I remember Rick Martel originally came into the WWF tag teaming with Tom Zink. They were called the Can-Am Connection.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what happened. I know Tom Zink got, I guess, canned from WWF, and they basically they teamed him up with Tito Santana and called them Strike Force.
Interesting.
Yeah, which they wound up winning the tag titles from the Hart Foundation and wound up holding them till they lost them to Demolition at WrestleMania 4.
That's another tag team I don't think we talked about either, is Demolition. Axe and Smash.
Oh yeah, they were two. They were a fucking badass tag team, man.
Tough guys, man.
Growing up, it's like, man, you feared those guys. Like, they were cool. I remember, like I said, I had their fucking Hasbro figures.
Yeah.
Remember, not only that, but all those years they went as like Demolition, and then they wound up bringing in a third Demolition member when they brought in Crush.
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah. Because the reason, what I found out the reasoning was, is because Axe was getting to the point where, he was having like back problems or whatnot, and they were the tag team champions at the time, so it's like, fuck, what are we gonna do? And they decided to bring in Crush to basically be Crush and Smash as like wrestling, and Axe would just be kind of more of like a manager type role.
Right. Yeah, those are tough dudes, man.
Yeah. You want to know what's something's funny is that they teamed up Crush and Smash for a while, and then in 1992 they both were like given like gimmick changes. Like Smash would become the Repo Man, and Crush like dumped the whole like Demolition deal and became like a Hawaiian like Crush.
Oh, okay.
And they wound up battling each other at the 1992 SummerSlam. Mm-hmm. Which I thought that was pretty cool, because I mean, I knew who, that Smash was Repo Man and Crush was Crush, but like seeing them, I was like, wow, like we get to see fucking Smash and Crush from Demolition go at it.
Right, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. Because, I mean, it's always rare to see two tag team partners go at it.
Right.
I got a tag team question for you.
Yes, sir.
What was the one tag team you hated to see break up?
Oh, man. I would the one that comes to mind offhand is probably the British Bulldogs.
Yeah.
And then Davey Boy went on to the WWF.
Yeah, but I'm saying they never really had like a breakup.
I mean, they didn't wrestle in the 90s in WWF.
Yeah,
because
I was talking about in a deal where where the teams just split up and like they turn on each other.
That's a good question.
Like that's what I was talking about.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I'm not sure offhand. I mean, maybe the Rockers.
Yeah, the Rockers was one, and probably I'd have to say two. Another team that I hated to see break up was the Hollywood Blondes.
Okay.
You know that was, don't you?
We haven't talked about them yet.
Yeah, Steve Austin and Brian Pillman.
Yeah, we haven't even talked. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people said that WCW wasted a hell of a money-making deal because, I mean, the Hollywood Blondes team was never supposed to get over as big as they did.
Right.
And they said it sucks because once they really got, like, become big and become champions, it's like, oh, we're gonna have them drop the belts and we're gonna break them up as a tag team. Like, wait, what? This team's fucking drawing money right now, and you want to just cancel it all out?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's the kind of shit that WCW did, though. You know, it's like they get a big, like somebody, you know, would be becoming big. It's like, oh, shut them down.
Like, why when they're making good money?
Yeah, it's like, oh, they're getting too popular. Shut them down. Have them drop the belts. Break them up as a tag team. Let's just throw away this opportunity that we can have the most coolest fucking tag team out there. But let's break them up.
Yeah, especially when they're on the high note and you want to break them up. What the fuck's that all about? You know,
just to make Steve Austin a singles character, and basically, you know, I mean, they did have him win the United States title, which was cool.
Right.
And it really didn't do nothing for Brian Pillman, though.
Right. Well, they got over much better in WWF.
Yeah.
You know, against each other.
Yeah.
That whole gun incident thing was a trip.
Not just the gun incident, but when Brian Pillman came back and he turned heel and was working along the side with Bret Hart and all of them, there was a funny segment. He was in a bathroom talking shit about Stone Cold, and like just out of the blue, Stone Cold appeared and fucking beat the hell out of him, took him into a stall, and actually dunked his head in the fucking toilet.
Damn.
Yeah.
Stone Cold is just ruthless, man.
Yeah.
I love about Stone Cold back in the day.
Scared. I tell you what, I mean, even though he was a heel, he wasn't scared of nobody.
No, I know. He was going after everybody.
When he went after Brian Pillman with that gun incident deal, like, he went right to his house, got out, and just fucking beat the fuck out of those two guys that were trying to stop him, and then busting his way in the house, and like the gun being pointed at him, and right before something could happen, like the screen just went off.
Right. Yeah, I remember that being a pretty shocking moment in the wrestling world.
We didn't, and it's funny, like, you didn't really find out what had happened. Like, they're trying to run the show and have matches, and everybody's like, we need to find out what's going on over there. This is not right. This has gone horribly wrong here.
Yeah, they're like, we're back from commercial break.
Yeah.
You know, and then I think Stone Cold was outside afterwards.
Yeah, and at one point, like at the end of the show, like they got the footage popped back up, and you see all his friends like holding Brian Pillman back, and the guy's like, and I was like, I do not know where Stone Cold Steve Austin is. He saw the gun, and he left. Oh my God, he's back! And fucking Austin just like runs, like, shoot me, motherfucker, shoot me! And it's fucking Brian, like, you know, I'm like, let him go! This son of a bitch, Hanson's coming! Let him go! I'm a stupid son of a bitch!
Yeah. And moments like that, man. That was you don't see shit like that no more.
You want to know something? If you know what Brian Pillman actually during the filming of that slipped in a damn F-bomb.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because he's like yelling at Steve, and I think his wife was crying behind him. And like you could barely hear it though, but you could hear him like turn around and tell his wife like, "Shut the fuck up, let him go! I'm gonna kill him, so let him go."
Damn. Yeah, that was like what, 1996 or 7?
That was 97. Yeah.
That was.
Oh, yeah, no, the whole gun incident was like late of '96. Like.
Okay.
He
because didn't he pass away in 97?
Yep, October of 97.
Damn, yeah.
The day of that pay-per-view where he was supposed to wrestle fucking Goldust.
Yeah. A long time ago too.
Yeah.
Lost a good one there, man. I would have liked to have seen where he would have taken his wrestling career if he would have lived.
Yeah. Well, you know his son's wrestling now.
Yeah.
And what's stupid is that he started working for AEW, going underneath the name Brian Pillman Jr. Now I just found out he just got signed to WWE NXT, and he's going under the name what the fuck was it again? Lexis King.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Do you think that will get over?
I don't know. I mean, I just don't understand why you just wouldn't go, pay tribute to your father and just use your God-given name.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, I hate that when they do that shit in wrestling. You get so used to a wrestler being one name, and then the next thing you know, it's like Jon Moxley. Like all the years he wrestled in WWE as Dean Ambrose, and then going to AEW and becoming Jon Moxley. It's like, it's so hard to fight because you still think it's Dean Ambrose. It's Dean Ambrose. It's like, no, dummy, it's not Dean Ambrose anymore. That's Jon Moxley.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. These name changes.
Same way with that wrestler LA Knight. Back in the day, he was Eli Drake in TNA.
Yeah.
And TNA, NWA, and then he goes to WWF or WWE, and it's like, oh yeah, now his name is LA Knight. Like, why the fuck didn't you just bring him in as Eli Drake? Like, his Eli Drake gimmick was badass. Like, I'm Eli Drake. Dummy, yeah.
Now, what are your thoughts on the Hardy Boys?
Oh, man, Jeff.
Yeah, they can wrestle.
They're still wrestling to this day. They're wrestling back in TNA again.
Yeah. Total non-stop action wrestling.
That's funny how they're just like they're bouncing from company to company. Like they were in WWE, and then they went to like TNA originally, then went back to WWE, and then went over to AEW, and now they're back to TNA. Like, what the fuck?
They jump around. I'm sure they get paid well too.
Yeah. I tell you what, the Hardys were good as a tag team in WWE, but like when in TNA, when they were trying to, do solo runs, like Matt was never really a good singles wrestler until he created that one version of himself in TNA where he was like doing the delete.
Yeah. So he created that in TNA.
Yeah, he created that in TNA, and he because what happened was he had a he had a match, like he had a falling out with Jeff, and you know they had a rivalry. They had a big time match, and like Matt Hardy lost the first match, and when he lost, he became like just total psycho.
Damn.
And then he came out with he came out dressed as Jeff Hardy's old Willow gimmick, and wound up, with a couple other guys beating him down and then taking the mask off to reveal it's now like a psychotic Matt Hardy.
Right. And you like that one?
Well, I mean, later when he started doing that whole delete thing, and he's like, I forgot what he was like calling himself at that time. I know it was still Matt Hardy, but he was like, when he was doing the
yes. Yeah, that was some cool stuff. I always liked when they came out with Lita, to their music and whatnot.
Back in the day, Team Extreme, baby.
That was some cool shit, back in their young days.
Yeah, I mean, they had amazing matches. I mean, they looked good as a team, like Matt, Jeff, and Lita.
Yeah. They had some good matches back in the day,
Yeah.
Jumping out. What do you think of Brothers of Destruction? The Undertaker and Kane.
Oh, man. It's like you said, what can you say about those guys, man?
Yeah.
I mean, when they brought Kane in and had that whole rivalry between him and his brother, then when they wound up actually joining, together and becoming like a tag team and winning titles and stuff.
Yeah.
That was badass.
Hell yeah. They were wrecking havoc everywhere they went, man.
Yeah.
They were kicking some ass all over the place. It's cool seeing those two.
The Undertaker and Kane.
The Undertaker and Kane. What do you think of the Usos?
Yeah, they were cool. I mean, they still are cool, but I don't know. They got one of the Uso brothers now came out with this stupid saying now, like it's called Yeet.
Oh yeah.
And it makes it like they're making it a big deal where he'll stand in the ring, he'll get somebody to stand with them, and he's like, he just throws his arms up in the air, he's like, yay! And the whole fans like go along with this, like, wow, this is what it's coming to now.
Yeah, some goofball shit.
Like first, I mean, back in our days, it was like, what was the word? Like what? With old Stone Cold, and now coming out with Eat. We're like, what the fuck is Eat?
I don't know. It's this thing, man. I don't know.
What the fuck? Like, come on, man.
What do you think of the New Day?
Yeah,
I think some of their stuff is kind of funny. With the pancake shit that they used to do.
Yeah, that was fucking retarded.
Really?
Yeah,
I thought it was kind of funny.
I fucking hated that, dude. Fucking him coming out with pancakes and pulling fucking pancakes out of his tights that he's been wrestling a match in, and all them fucking pancakes are probably right next to his junk. And you're gonna pull those pancakes out and start shoving them in a dude's mouth.
Yeah, that's
like fuck off. It's like I don't know what would be worse, doing that or taking the fucking stink face from Rikishi.
Yeah, I wouldn't want either, to be honest. I don't want the stink face, that stink shit. Fuck all that.
I do say one thing that was cool, that was funny as fuck with Kofi Kingston, was all his Royal Rumble saves.
Oh yeah.
Remember that?
I believe so.
For like 3 years in a row, where he would get eliminated, but he would do some crazy deal to like get back in the he would like be on the announce table and use the chair to fucking springboard the bounce back to the ring on. And there was another year where he was on the fucking the barrier thing on the ring, and he ran across that and got back in the ring. And then there was another year where he thought he got eliminated and he landed on the shoulders of Big E, and Big E just like caught him on the ring going, "New Day rocks, New Day rocks."
Yeah. No,
I mean, it was cool for at the time, but taking Kofi Kingston, Big E, and Xavier Woods and putting them as like a unit like that. I mean, it was a good deal to do because they became a badass group.
oh hell yeah. Now, what are your thoughts on the Mega Powers? Did we talk about them yet?
I don't think so. You talking about Macho Man and Hulk Hogan?
Yeah. How cool was that? The Mega Powers.
Cool.
Well, I thought it was pretty cool for their time. I would always say the Mega Powers are in mega pain because these motherfuckers are in pain from all the years of wrestling.
They came up with that whole Mega Powers deal because they were going to have a tag match against Ted DiBiase and Andre the Giant, and it was booked as the Mega Powers versus the Mega Bucks.
Yeah. Did you like watching their matches?
I remember watching Saturday Night's Main Event where they split up as a tag team.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they had a match with the Big Boss Man and Akeem, who was called the Twin Towers at the time, and remember they inadvertently threw Macho Man out of the ring, and he landed on Elizabeth and injured her, to where basically Hulk Hogan scooped up Elizabeth and left Macho to battle these guys by himself, to take her back to to get medical assistance. And then once she knew she was all right, like, he ran back out to make the save, and Macho Man was so pissed that he tagged him, but then like he walked away and made Hogan like wrestle them by himself, which Hulk Hogan, of course, okay, brother, this don't work for me. Time to Hulk up, brother. Big boots, big slams, leg drops.
1, 2, 3. Now, what are your thoughts on the Steiner brothers? I think we talked a little bit about them, but
what the fuck? What can't you say about the Steiner brothers?
Talk about power. Yeah, these two were just fucking awesome. I think back in the day.
Yeah.
Kicking ass all over the place.
It's like their song always goes. It's the story of the brothers Rick and Scott.
Yeah. I mean,
originally,
No, go ahead.
I said originally Rick Steiner started in the business first.
Yeah.
It wasn't until like the late '80s where they actually brought in Scott Steiner, and once they actually did hook up and become a tag team, it was like, watch out, world,
Yeah, they did a hell of a good job. And then later,
I'll tell you the best deal for Scott though is in the late '90s when he turned on his brother Rick.
Yeah, he became the single
wrestler. Yeah. becoming Big Papa Pump, you know.
Yeah.
Got his hair blonde, growing his little goatee.
And you know what? And that got over.
It did. I mean, look at how. I mean, when he came out and debuted that new look, it was like, holy shit, dude! Like he totally reinvented himself.
Yeah, it's just like the whole Hogan thing.
Yeah, you know, like when Scott Steiner did that whole turn, and like when you see him come out, like, wow, that's not the Scott Steiner that I remember.
Right. And it worked, man. I have to give it to him.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. What do you think of the Iron Sheik and Volkov? Nikolai Volkov.
Nikolai Volkov.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Former WWF Tag Team Champions.
Yeah, back in the day. Did you like them growing up?
Yeah, they were cool. I mean, I remember they would always come out and they would, like, grab the mic and Iron Sheik would go, Russia, #1, Iran, #1, USA, good.
Pissing off the people and shit.
Yeah. And then Nikolai would always try to sing the Russian national anthem, and as he'd always get like interrupted, mostly from Hacksaw Jim Duggan, who, you know, he'd always come out and somehow like sabotage it, like cut the mic off on him or run the ring with his 2x4 and chase him away. Like, no, you ain't singing that shit here in America, buddy.
Yeah, that was some cool times, man. For real.
That was cool. I mean, you know, that was a good team of Nikolai and Iron Sheik, and you know they had a good feud with Barry Windham and Mike Rotundo, who were the U.S. Express.
Yeah, they really got the crowd, the people pissed off, man. Which what they're supposed to do.
He'd get on the mic and he'd say that shit. He'd be like, Iran, #1, Russia, #1, USA.
Fucking pissing everybody off.
Like, fuck you.
But hey, that's what they're supposed to do. You know, to get over with the crowd. You know, that's how you get heat, man.
You gotta get that heat, man. Just like another tag team that I'm going to go on to right now that created a lot of heat, and that was Kevin Nash and Scott Hall, the Outsiders.
The Outsiders, yeah.
Yeah. That was funny that you took two like great singles wrestlers from WWF, like Big Daddy Cool Diesel and the bad guy Razor Ramon, dumped those gimmicks and they just went under their real names and just became a badass tag team.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
Yeah, it worked. It got over well.
Yeah, I mean, and they had a good run too. I mean, they won the WCW tag titles like several times.
Yeah, they got over real well.
Yeah, I mean, especially like when they started their whole NWO gimmick. And, like anytime you saw Kevin Nash, you knew Scott Hall was somewhere around.
Definitely. And these are two big guys, tall.
Yeah.
You know, a force in the wrestling business, that's for sure.
I tell you what, listen to Kevin Nash's shoot interviews. He had some crazy like road stories with like Shawn Michaels, Scott Hall, and Sean Waltman.
Oh yeah, what were some of the things he was saying?
He was saying like one of the times they were going out, they were traveling to their next event, and they were in a van, taking pills and drinking, and they stopped at a Waffle House place to get something to eat, and they're going in. By the time they said they got to the door, like Shawn Michaels and Sean Waltman, their pills were kicking in, so they were really fucked up.
Oh man!
And when they go into the place to eat, they noticed at a table there's like a whole table full of cops.
Oh damn!
Yeah.
Oh shit! Just went from bad to worse.
Yeah, well, they go sit down at the table and they're trying to like act natural, and Hunter Hearst Helmsley was Triple H was with them, and they always had Triple H like ride with them because Triple H, who wasn't really a big drinker or partier.
Yeah, he never did any of that.
No, but he said because of that, they basically used Triple H as like
the driver,
their designated driver,
right.
basically.
Right.
And like Kevin mentioned to him, like, look, there's cops over there. There's a whole bunch of fucking beer in the van. Like, go get rid of that. So Hunter said that Hunter went and walked outside. And then, like, at one point, like, I think it was either Shawn Michaels or Sean Waltman really was starting to get, like, really fucked up and was, like, kicking and shaking and trying to, like, calm him down. And they try to, like, we need to get him out of here. We need to get him in the van. And we said when he went to get up, he kind of, like, fell over at one point. And finally, like, you could hear one of the cops like, all right, enough is enough of this bullshit. What,
Yeah, what's like, going on?
Like, they basically went out to the van to get their IDs, and luckily enough, by the time they went out there, Hunter went through the van, got all the beer and all the bullshit out of the van, and dumped it, so when the cops came out to check the van, there was no liquor or nothing in the van.
Right, that would have been big trouble for them.
And they basically just told him, like, look, get this motherfucker, put him in that van, and let him sleep it off.
Yeah, damn, they dodged a bullet on that one. Damn.
Another one too was funny. They said they were over in a tour in the WWF days. In, like, I think they were like in England or something, and they were like, they had like some like a day to kill or something before they had an event, and they were looking for some smoke, and they said Scott wound up finding somebody that sold them he said a good piece of hash, and like they're trying to figure out a way to they didn't have no papers or nothing to roll it up with, so they made like they were making like this like one of them like soda can deals, and they said at one point Scott was busting up some of the weed, and just as around the corner, like Kevin can see like a one of those what they call a bobby in England, which is like a kind of a police officer deal.
Yeah.
And he kind of makes the motion to Scott, like like, hey, cop, and he said that Scott had to do it in a way they had to block for where the guy couldn't see the railing because he left the weed on there. And he said Kevin said he went down to like tie his shoe, and the guy was ordering him. He's like, hey man, I'm tying my shoe here. He's like, he told him to stand up, and when he looked away, Kevin just kind of like just brushed over and brushed all the weed off the balcony down just so they wouldn't see it, and once they knew they wouldn't. Here's the thing though, everybody thought that Scott and them dumped their whole thing of weed, and he's like, when it came to find out, like he probably didn't even dump like half the weed that they had.
Oh.
Like once they got away, they finally were able to go find somewhere they could sit and get their smoke on, and he's like, by that point, we go hit a fucking food place, eat like motherfuckers, and at that point we're like, hell yeah, dude, we're in England, we're high, we're full. It's like, what do we do now?
Yeah, I can imagine that type of shit going on all the time.
Yeah, like, dude, Kevin Nash has some great fucking road stories, man.
Yeah. Those must have been like probably some of the best times of their life.
Yeah.
You know?
I'll tell you what was funny. They asked Kevin Nash about his first ever road story, and he's like, okay, I'm going to paint the picture for you right now. You got me driving, Sid in the passenger seat. He's like, right behind me, you got Dutch Mantel, and then behind Sid, you got the Sheik.
Oh, wow.
And he's like, first thing that was said, you hear Sheik in the back going, hey, Sid, who's the giant jabroni driving us with the mohawk? And Kevin like goes, I'm not a jabroni, Sheik. And he's like, of course you're not, Papa.
Oh, man.
And he's like, fuck, this is fucked.
Yeah. Driving around with the Sheik must have been just trippy.
He was talking about they went to like a gym because he said that Kevin Nash and Sid were big weight trainers or gym rats basically, and he said that it was just such a weird thing with the group of people that he was riding with. It's like you got him and Sid pumping weights, and Dutch, who was just sitting off in the corner reading the newspaper, and he said that Sheik would just go lay down on the thing, and he would just take about 200 and so pounds of weight and just bang it off his chest like, pooah!
Yeah, he had some crazy strength to him.
Yeah.
Something about the Sheik. He had that type of strength,
Sheiky baby.
He was one of a kind. I love watching his shoot interviews, man.
Yeah. What about that thing with him and Beetlejuice?
Yeah, that was great. He did not like Beetlejuice, man, on the Howard Stern show.
Yeah, and Beetlejuice is fucking telling like, oh, go on, hit me with that bottle.
Yeah.
Hit me with that bottle.
Yeah, he's no, I'm not gonna hit you with that bottle. But he's like, you never disrespect the boss or something like that.
He's like, oh,
Fuck
I'll
you.
knock you out, boy. I'll knock you, Beetlejuice.
Yeah, little Beetlejuice telling Iron Sheik, I'll knock you the fuck out, boy. I'm thinking, what?
Dude, you are crazy.
He was something too, man. I mean, it was funny seeing those two, man. And then
Cheeky baby.
Yeah, I love his shoot interviews.
Hell yeah. What about the shoot interview he gave about B. Brian Blair?
Yeah, that's fantastic.
I'll put you in that camel clutch and break your back and fuck your ass and make you humble.
Yeah, he did not like Brian Blair. Yeah, I always enjoyed his shoot interviews, and there's a couple of the wrestlers that had some really good shoot interviews.
Damn right they did, man. Some of them just have some great shoot interviews.
Like Billy Jack Haynes, he had some really good shoot interviews.
Oh yeah, but that motherfucker's crazy though.
He's out there, man. He was a legit tough guy too back in his day.
Yeah.
He's not like one you would actually want to get in a fist fight with, man.
No, I mean I could probably name a lot of those wrestlers you wouldn't want to get into a damn fist fight with.
Yeah, he's one of them.
Then I'll tell you another one was what people were saying, another guy you never dared to try to get in a fight with was damn Harley Race.
Yeah.
Because that's a tough son of a bitch too, man.
The one I would never dare is Ahmed Johnson.
No.
No. In his prime, no way. There's not. I wouldn't. No, not even if I had 5 guys with me, I would try to fight that guy.
No.
He's just too fucking crazy, and he's built like a tree.
That's why I thought it was nuts when they had that deal, that storyline happened with fucking Goldust.
Right.
Where he came up to Ahmed and started like kissing him while he was
I was like, fuck that, man.
Are you literally trying to fucking get yourself killed, dude?
Yeah, no shit.
Like all the wrestlers in WWF to pull that fucking crap on, like you're gonna pull on the biggest, baddest dude in WWF that would literally tear you apart.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, after you witness him rip up Hardcore Holly with one arm.
Yeah, he grabbed Hardcore Holly by the throat, picked him up in the air with one hand.
Right. You see that kind of power, you better fucking back off real quick.
Yeah.
You know, and Hardcore Holly is a tough motherfucker, so if he could do that to him, imagine what he could do to Goldust.
Yeah.
I mean, he would fold Goldust into a pretzel, man.
Yeah, you do not want to fuck with him, dude.
No, yeah, not in real life. No, thanks.
Ahmed Johnson. I remember Ahmed Johnson before he even was Ahmed Johnson in WWF.
Yeah, who did he wrestle?
He wrestled in Global Wrestling Federation under the name Moadib.
Oh, right on. Did you like his matches?
Oh yeah, I mean he was a wild one. I mean even in fucking like Global Wrestling Federation when he worked as Moadib, like he was like I forgot where they pronounced that he was from, but he was going to be like a foreigner guy, like come in and he had like one of them deals where he wore like the big baggy pants and had like one of those like bull fucking like nose rings. And worked for fucking Skandar Akbar and just became a fucking bad man.
Yeah, I bet. He's an intense dude, man.
Yeah, and it's like then he went to WWF and became Ahmed Johnson, which I thought was cool because he got to be a good guy and got to shine in WWF. For a while.
For a little while. He wasn't there too long, but...
Yeah. I mean, well, they said the reason why he never, he came in, started doing really good, and he just kind of fell down the ranks, because they said that he was always, injury prone. It's like every time he turned around, he was always getting injured, and he had to take time off time and time again.
Oh, okay.
And so that's why, WWF, they started to push him, but once he started getting, injured, it's like, oh, we can't take a chance of, putting a title on this guy and having him get injured, and then, we'll have to, strip him of the belt and, get somebody else. It's like, fuck that.
Yeah.
But...
Yeah, he's a force of nature, man. I give it to him for that. Tough guy.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
But dude, I think it's actually kind of time for us to end this podcast.
Oh yeah. We've been going for this is our longest podcast.
Yeah.
And that's something we've gone over 3 hours, and we haven't done that before.
And this is cool. I mean,
yeah, this is pretty good.
I mean, honestly, I could probably go for another hour or two, but
yeah, I know your battery's gonna get low. You gotta let the dogs out.
Yeah.
All that good stuff. So I'm looking through my playlist now, and my longest podcast came out in 2020, which was 2 hours and 45 minutes, but this one here tops it because we're over 3 hours.
And this one's probably one of our best ones, man.
This is a good one. Yeah, because I don't think we've dived into tag team wrestlers.
No, I know
we did tonight.
I know we haven't really talked a lot of. I mean, there's a lot more tag teams out there. I mean, that we haven't mentioned. There's the Rock and Roll Express.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I forgot about those.
The Quebecers. We're not the Mounties.
Yeah, you're talking about old school tag team wrestlers there. Yeah, the Rockers did a hell of a job back in their day.
Yeah, remember me and you used to make fun of the Quebecers ring entrance music. I'd be singing a song and you would add in barking sounds
kind of making fun of them.
We're not the Mounties.
Yeah. We'd be silly with it, but yeah, it's all good. We could wrap this one up.
Yeah, we're going to wrap up a nice 3.5-hour podcast, people. Coming for you. Coming to you.
This was pretty cool. Yeah, longest one to date. And this will be the first one that we're going to be posting in 2025. Even though we have a couple already filmed in the can, this one's going out first for 2025. So we're going big.
Get ready for 2025. Well, we are in 2025, so we can't get ready for it when we're already here.
Yeah, we're going big with the first podcast of 2025. We're going long. Yeah, I actually wasn't expecting to go this long, but I was, it was going good, so I was like, fuck it, let's go.
Well, I mean, why not stop a good thing, man?
Well, it's going good. We just, roll with it. Plus, like I said, we never dived deep into tag team wrestlers as of yet, so, and there's a lot of them, like you said. So it's like, might as well, do a podcast about tag team wrestlers. On top of that, we answered a lot of questions in the podcast. Yeah. Which is pretty cool. We've dived deep into that as well. Talking about like old school.
Wasn't for having to go up here and look after my dogs. I could have easily sat here and did this for another 2 fucking hours.
Oh yeah, man. It's all good though, Usually I like to keep the podcast around an hour, a little over an hour, but sometimes it's fun to go for longer,
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So anyways, we will wrap up this podcast for you guys.
Man, we will be back again before you know it.
Oh yeah, we already got a couple in the can. We got like 2 or 3 more already filmed, ready to go. We've been filming them up big time, so expect a lot more for this year as well. I mean, as a matter of fact, I wanted to mention, because usually, like every year, we used to only do a few of them, like 3 or 4 a year. That was it. But this year, I wanted to double up. Or last year, I wanted to double up. So I did, I think 8 podcasts we did. Now this year, we're going to probably triple up and probably do 12 or more podcasts this year.
No.
Yeah, so get ready, buddy. You're going on the grind.
No, I think this is going to be our final podcast. Sorry, people, but this is going to be our final podcast. So,
no.
I'm out.
No, don't count on it. We're going to keep rocking and rolling because we on the grind.
Yeah. Oh, look at the time. Look at the time. You got to go.
But anyways, this has been fun. We'll definitely do it again before you know it. Like I said, I got a couple in the can that we're going to be, I'll be posting here in the near future. And, this is our longest one to date, over 3 hours. So anyways, we'll wrap it up, guys. We hope you enjoyed the first podcast for 2025. We answered a lot of questions, talked about wrestling. And that is it for now. We're out of here and have a kick-ass night, and
wherever you're watching this.
Yeah, whatever time you're watching this, and if you made it to the end, that's kick-ass too. Good looking out.
We appreciate it. Give us a thumbs up and a like, and
let us know. Let us know in the comments below if you watched the whole podcast.
Oh yeah.
So anyways, we hope you all enjoyed this awesome first podcast of 2025. We're going to be going strong this year. We're going to get a lot of podcasts. Not only that, we got a lot of movie reviews we're going to be fucking pumping out as well. More than last year, so get ready for that as well. So anyways, we're out of here for now. You all have a kick-ass night, day, morning, whenever you're watching this. And until next time, peace out, people. See ya.